Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock on September 5th, and I want to welcome you to the District Heights City Meeting and call this meeting to order. The agendas for tonight's meeting has been posted online and in the clerk's office. I would like to announce the deferral of item 11, resolution amending Article 3 of the City Charter for election qualification to a future meeting. And I would also like to move the public comment agenda item up to after the consent agenda items. My name is Vice Mayor Jossie Gomez, and I will be leading tonight's meeting in Mayor Miller's absence. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I, Commissioner Janifer, move that we approve the agenda for tonight's meeting, September 5th, 2024.
Commissioner Harcourt, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Aye. 3-1. Okay, has the commission had an opportunity to review the consent agenda tonight as proposed? We have items 9, sole source contract award for police vehicles, items 12, ordinance adoption for the ethics ordinance, and item 13, ordinance adoption, repeal and reenactment of section 1031 rental licensing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Already? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Commissioner Harcourt, approve tonight's consent agenda.
Commissioner Janifer, second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
The ayes have it, 3-0. Okay, so we've moved the public comment section up to after the consent agenda items. Do we have any forms for public comment?
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor, there are 2 submissions for public comment.
Great.
The first speaker is Ms. Harriet Irving, and the second speaker is Mr. John Barry.
Great. Mr. Barry, would you like to come up and? Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'm just coming up here. Hello, good to see you. I'm here because we are, and this is about the item number 10 on the agenda, which is the collective bargaining section 714. And we want to speak out in support of this item, and this is the item introducing a resolution initiating an amendment to the city's charter. We think this is an important first step toward getting to the point where these people that we represent and the city employees can actually start the process of moving toward collective bargaining. And I think that's a right we all think they have. I want to address a few concerns that were raised the last time we were here, about 2 months ago or something like that. And that has to do with whether we have a majority or not of the actual employees here. So I spent the day actually going around, talking to people, and I can say for a fact that right now, and this is just based on what Mr. Street gave us as the number of employees in the city, and that was non-supervisory employees. So 16 of those have signed either cards or a petition here saying, as an employee of District Heights, I support recognition of UFCW 1994 as a bargaining agent for employees for purpose of negotiating wages, hours, and other terms of employment. This is been a long process again. I say it every time, but we started out in May 13th, 2023. So we're looking forward to moving forward here, and we feel that right now, we would like to, once again, if you have any questions about coming together on a code, on a labor code, to figure out what the actual steps are involved in negotiating, you can give me a call. I've given you my card. I think a lot of these, answering these questions before the actual bill is considered is usually helpful. I think we've talked to David Street too as well. So we look forward to moving ahead. I think mutual trust is the most important thing here. I think we're all on the side of the workers here, and we look forward to a good relationship. Okay? Do you have any questions?
Not for you,
All right.
but I do
Not for
have
me?
a question. Not for you.
For anybody else?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Berry.
All right, thanks.
And do we have Ms. Irving, former Vice Mayor Irving? Hello. We are doing public participation, and I see that you've signed up. Yeah, perfect timing.
Well, good evening.
Good evening.
What I wanted to discuss kind of correlates and is basically doing with the streets. So it's like the streets are getting kind of congested. I've been on streets on several occasions where either myself or the person that was coming this way will have to decide what we're going to do, because we still have trucks, with the ladders and trucks parked on the street. Plus there's more people, more cars in each family now for whatever reasons. And so I was wondering if there's no way to think about addressing that, because we're going to have to address it. A lot of other people said they are having those issues too, but I'm speaking personally for my issues. And then also, I know when I was a commissioner, trucks, business trucks that had ladders and things like that could not park on the street. They could park in their driveway. But as trucks on the street, I don't know if that's still the case because I haven't researched it. They're still parking on the street with the ladders. And I'm seeing more people, and being with CAP, I'm being very visual, and I see more people working on their cars in the street. I understand they can in the driveway to a certain degree, but I see them actually working on cars in the streets. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention. But the main thing was seeing what we can do about the streets. I don't know if we can make them one way or whatever the case may be, but it's getting a little serious now. And that was it.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Irving. Ms. Irving, thank you.
Thank you, former commissioner. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's all we have for public participation. So we will move forward with our departmental reports, and we have Recreation, Mr. Taylor up first.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor Gomez, Commissioner Harcourt, Commissioner Janifer. Please accept the minutes for September's city report. I'm going to start with just a quick recap of July. We had our July celebration on July 4th, of course. That was just a recap from our last meeting. Summer camp, we had a successful summer camp this year, again this year. No issues, no incidents. We had 31 kids, and we ended the year at Great Wolf Lodge. We had a back-to-school block party on August the 11th. On August 18th, we had Community Cuts for Kids. There was about 300 or so people here that day. August 21st, we had the Washington Commanders Marching Band practice here, and there were probably about 217 of the marching band. That was a combination of their command force, which consists of the cheerleaders and dancers, as well as the instrument players. Facility rental, we had one facility rental, August 31st. It had 100 people. And then moving into the class services and retention update, we had chair aerobics. Line dance started today. Open gym. The numbers here include the Safe Summer activities we had in the gym. Those were very popular. And then, of course, as you look here, the fitness room, Mr. Blake is really doing a good job recruiting. We're all calling residents, so you may get a call soon. If you ever signed up for the fitness room, we just checking to see if your information is up to date, and that is helping to drive people into the fitness room. So expect a call at some point in time. Tops, we had 27 in July and 33 in August. And then the DH step team was on summer break during June and July and resumed in August with 28. AARP, we host meetings, and we've had, of course, they were on summer break, and then came back in August with 19. Our walking class is picking up again. The weather has been cooler in the mornings, so we had about 20 people in the month of August. The Job Resource Lab, that opens on Monday. And part of the Job Resource Center, we're looking to market that room to fully measure how well the Job Resource Center work here in our city. And some of the things we're going to do to try to enhance participation is having our mentoring groups assigned to participate in the workforce development space. Go-Go Fitness, that class just started in July and is growing really fast. They had 49 people in July and 39 in the month of August. Zumba, which just started in early July, and that class is going to resume on October the 7th. We're looking for a little more space for them. They have a lot of interest, but our space currently won't hold the interest at this time. And last but not least, we have girls mentoring. We have 18 young ladies who are interested, and we're going to be doing an open house this month, and the date is still to be determined. I am calling down the sheet now to recruit the young ladies to get them to tell me which date they would like to have their open house, as well as we're looking for anyone who's interested in being a mentor to our young ladies. Please give us a call at 301-336-5633, and I am ready for any and all questions. That concludes the report for September 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Any questions?
I do.
Mhm.
Mr. Street, can you just pull up the report for me, please? All the way up, please. To the beginning portion of it, I wanted to ask about one of the events there. The event on August the 18th,
Mhm.
the Community Cuts for Kids, I mean, there was a huge turnout for that. How was that event, circulated? How were residents made aware of that? Was it on our website?
No.
Was that a event that was not a city event, it was a rental, or how did that one come apart?
Great question. What we did here with Community Cuts for Kids is that we partnered with them because of future expectations, sort of like what we're doing with the Washington Commanders. And the great thing about that event is that each year we have tried to do things with the kids right before school. We've given out free haircut vouchers, free haircut passes, and it kind of been hit and miss over the years. So once we heard from another vendor, not vendor, but potential partner with Pepco, she came here on a tour because they were interested in replacing our HVAC system in the gym. And so, once she shared with us that the Community Cuts for Kids, which is a DC and Virginia program, but the program has grown so large over the years, they're looking to start a program here in Prince George's County. So, we wanted to give that program a try, but because of how popular it is, we target marketed. So we only sent the flyer to Woodland Springs because that's where the need is, and we posted it on IG. What we didn't want to do is cross-market with the event on August the 11th. So we wanted to hold off, number one, because once we shared that our capacity downstairs is 446, we were afraid that it would get too crowded, and we weren't yet ready to this was like a beta test for us to see not only if we can have them back next year, but to also measure whether or not we could do it on our own next year. So to see that layout was pretty cool, something that we may be able to do on our own. But the great thing about them is that 95.5, which is what we were concerned about because it was promoted on the radio, that we wanted to target Woodland Springs to have about maybe 40 to 50 residents from Woodland Springs, and we got 37 or so. So what we wanted to do there is just kind of make sure that we kept the marketing small and we only targeted Woodland Springs at this time. Next year, 95.5 is ready to do something where there'll probably be a lot more people than the 350 that we had this year. And we're looking to expand it to the field as well as inside. So the beta test went well. There were a few challenges, but I think that's something that we can handle in-house. And I think next year it'll be bigger and better because we'll market it. Some of the benefits from this opportunity are the partners that come with 95.5. And so what we're trying to do now is actually have them participate in District Heights Day, promote us on the radio. They'll be connecting with our communications department on that end to make sure the information that needs to go out to them goes out to them in the appropriate manner. So it was a great event, yes, but what we wanted to do is keep the marketing small for fear of, overcapacity.
If I could continue, Vice Mayor. So that's all great. I just want to make sure moving forward, because even though we had that event on August 11th, a lot of residents I talked with had issues with transportation, and they were parents from our various schools. And
You're
so
right.
I don't want that moving forward to be a barrier. So I'm glad to hear that the plan for next year is to make it even grander and be able to extend that invitation to our schools who are very desperately in need of assistance as well.
Yeah, although it was a big event,
Yeah.
we think we can do it bigger and better next year. And as well as there were some items that we wanted to kind of watch in regards to how our power would hold that type of event. So those were just some of the concerns, because we had already shared with them, hey, if our capacity to sustain that type of power fails, you guys got to be okay with that process. So that was another concern as well. And everything went well, actually, thanks to our Public Works Department. Lakeisha had the outlet served so that it could try to maintain that type of energy, and everything worked out well.
Okay. That's good to hear. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, who was point on coordinating that event?
Recreation, the Recreation Department.
So was So was the city manager aware of the coordination of that event?
Yes, sir.
Because I'm confused because I don't think the commission was aware of the event at all. So I'm just confused how it flew under the radar of the commission.
I don't think it was that intention to fly under the radar, but if you guys are wondering about the marketing piece, we weren't trying to cross-market with the
No, I'm not
August 11th.
talking about the marketing. I'm talking about the awareness of the commission being involved in something going on in the city. The mayor wasn't even aware of the event. I know Commissioner Tillman was aware of the event, but
The mayor attended the event.
we weren't. Were you aware?
No, I was
Were you aware?
No.
Yeah,
We weren't aware. I'm just curious why we weren't made aware.
I don't actually have an answer for that now, but I can promise you that won't happen again because we now have a new communications plan thanks to Mrs. Kelly. So in that plan, all of the dots to connect in regards to promotions and marketing is piled in that plan. Maybe she will share once she goes tonight, but at the same time, I don't think that will happen again, actually, because that plan is very thorough, very thought out, and she actually has supported our process and recreation, not only for our events that are scheduled, but surprise events like this one, the Community Cuts for Kids and the Commanders.
I'm sorry, that doesn't seem like it was a surprise event. That was a large, well-coordinated event.
What I mean by that is, if I can elaborate, is that the Community Cuts for Kids was not on the schedule. That came up from the connections with Pepco Holdings, and through that opportunity to partner with Pepco Holdings and 95.5, we decided to have that event here and partner with them. We did not, like, the Recreation Department held the event, but we did not plan the event. The planning of that event was already done by 95.5.
Thank you.
But like I've shared, I was definitely available for further conversations and discussions to make sure we're on the same page with the mayor and commission. And if there are any apologies in order, I definitely stand here today and apologize to you guys.
Do you have any other questions?
No, thank you,
Commissioner
Madam
Harper?
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Just for me, I'm very happy to look at the open gym numbers for the month of July and August. We had almost 550 people join open gym and almost 400 for July and almost 400 for August. And that is a number that's satisfying to me, especially after we worked so hard on revising the
Yes.
policy for rentals so that we could have an open space for our residents, especially our kids during the summer, to
Good
have a
job
place
to
to
you
play.
guys. Good job.
So, and I know we did that sort of in a rush in the spring, summertime, and I'm glad to see that those numbers are so high.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for that.
Thank you as well, Vice Mayor. I hope to be using some of your resources with the girls mentoring. So they are anxiously awaiting, and if you don't mind, I would like to stop past next Saturday and share that with the group.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. And maybe, and
Cool.
so we have these activities and events, and I think it's important to highlight that we want to be open to have community events, like when we were able to host my sorority sisters have their retreat here. So those are the types of things that we want to be open for, and it's glad to see that the facilities are being used in a way that suits the community.
Yeah, and thank you.
Yeah.
And again, apologies on the miscommunication.
No worries. I think we also have presented spring, summer events that happen in the spring. And I know we have upcoming a presentation on our fall and winter events, but maybe we need to tackle how we are communicating events that pop up in between that.
Yes,
right?
ma'am. And Kelly's actually
exactly.
straightening myself and the department out with that process as well.
Great, okay, thank you.
Vice
Hey.
Mayor, if I may ask one more question? Mr. Taylor, I
Yes, ma'am.
noticed in your report that I didn't see anything for our young children, for our school-age children, elementary specifically, our two schools. And I wanted to ask if there was any conversation or discussion about what we could do to be able to have those young people have something to do perhaps after school or on the weekend, on Saturdays when you're open at that time.
Great question. And it also explains some of the, I'll just say to Commissioner Harcourt and Vice Mayor also that some of the confusion is that we're adjusting to our new processes. So we have a ton of after-school programs that are, that haven't yet gotten to Ms. Kelly. So that's still on me because I'm adjusting to the new marketing processes. And I was supposed to get that out to her today. So I apologize to Ms. Kelly as well. And I'll be sending that out tomorrow. But there are a ton of pretty cool after-school programs as well as some Saturday morning programs. So as I continue to do better with the new way we're doing the marketing, it'll all come out in a timely manner so that everyone can be informed. But yes, great question, because I get a chance to talk about, that the after-school programs are not only, here, we just got to get the marketing out.
Okay, thank you.
Ain't no problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So before we move on to our treasurer report, I see that we have a representative from Congressman Glenn Ivey's office here with us, Mr. Marche. Would you like to join us here at the podium and address the city?
Good evening, everyone. Hope
Good evening.
you're all doing all right. Forgive me, this is my first time doing this, so just want to make sure I take care of everything. First of all, thank y'all so much. Forgive me for my tardiness. It's parent back to school night for the parents, so I had to make sure my little one was taken care of. I had the privilege of coming to District Heights a bit earlier in the summer for the Juneteenth Freedom Walk and celebration. And at that time, I was still working with the Congressman's DC office, but I moved over to the district office in a district scheduling and field representative capacity. So that's why I'm here with you all tonight. As the mayor noted, my name is Ike Marchi. I'm the district scheduling and field representative for Congressman Glenn Ivey, and I'm very thankful to be here with you all today to hear about the important and necessary things that are happening in District Heights. So I just wanted to give you all a few updates from the office of the Congressman, let you know the things that we've been working on and been taking care of, so that you all have the information. And then before I take off, I'll leave a few of my business cards with you all, so that if there's anything that you specifically need to reach out to the Congressman's office for, you can make sure to do that. So first, I wanted to talk about our Congressional App Challenge. The Congressional App Challenge is an opportunity for high school students all across the country to showcase their skills. The way it works is that each participating member of Congress or congressional district receives submissions from high schools against constituents in their district. From there, an independent panel of judges selects which app is the most initiative and beneficial, and then after, the chosen district winner is automatically submitted into the national competition. From there, the national winner will be determined by a separate group of panelists. So that's an opportunity for our high school students to get involved, a bit more tech savvy, things along those lines. We encourage as many people to join in order to promote and nurture the interest in developing technology. We also believe that this is a good way for those invested in STEM to receive real-world experience and networking opportunities with STEM fields. Our office is also accepting nominations for military service. So military service academies, Members of Congress may nominate candidates for appointments to 4 or 5 of the U.S. Service Academies, the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy in New York, the 5th Service Academy, the U.S. Coastal Guard in New London, Connecticut, does not require a congressional nomination for appointment. Congressman Ivey may nominate between 10 to 15 individuals for each vacant academy slot allotted to the district. Understand that receiving a congressional nomination does not guarantee admission into the academy. However, it is a requirement to be considered for appointment as part of each service academy's admission process, with exception of the United States Coastal Guard Academy. So that is, for, all of our military service or people who are interested in military service to receive those nominations. Again, in my new recent capacity, I've seen how adamant and intentional our staff is in regards to interacting with the community, making sure that we have the things that we need, whether that's through different casework or different district events and things along those lines. For information on military service nominations, you can visit our website, which is ivey.house.gov under the Services tab, and click on Military Service Academy nominations. And the last thing I'll talk about before I get out of here, because I know you all want to get on with the rest of your agenda. Again, thank you very much. I want to remind you about the Community Project Funding Grant Program. For those who are wondering what this is, it's a grant program where members of Congress can submit projects to the House Appropriations Committee, which is delegates funding for the entirety of the United States. This program was started up in the last couple of years, and it's an extremely effective way for us to provide funding for projects in our district. Our office will begin accepting applications after we receive guidance from the House Appropriations Committee, which usually happens in February or March. If you have ideas for projects or would like to get more information, please reach out to the office and schedule a meeting with Ethan, who is one of our constituent liaisons. I can give you his email as well if that's something that you would like. And we're planning to come around again early next year when we can have some more information for you. Some brief information on the last round of appropriations. While Democrats are not in the majority of the House of Representatives, we actually got all of the community funding projects that we submitted approved for Maryland's 4th District and Prince George's County. So as long as we all are exercising our right to vote and telling other people to vote, and things go the way that we'd like them to go in the House of Representatives, ideally that should mean, we get more of the same things, especially coming up in next year. So, I think that's it for my updates. I'm open for any questions right now. If there's any questions that you all have, I can do to the best of my ability, to give you answers to those questions. Otherwise, like I said, I will leave a few of my cards for you all if you would like to follow up with myself or the office. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Marchi. Do we have any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
For the congressional app, is there a deadline for that?
The official deadline for the app challenge, I don't have the exact deadline, but given that it's in alignment with our high schools and our high school projects, I remember because like I said, I was previously working in the Congressman's DC office. The celebration that they have for it is not until May of the following year. So the deadlines for submission should not be, they won't be until early next year,
Oh, okay.
if I'm not mistaken.
Is
But-
there somewhere we can go to, pull down, get a flyer or some more information that perhaps we can put on our website?
Yeah, of course. I can follow up with my staff to make sure if there's any specific blurbs or things like that we can get out to not only the high schools in District Heights, but all over the county, and also we can make sure that information is directly on our website as well, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Madam Vice Mayor. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Excuse me. I have a question about the community project funding. I just want to know if this may fit in the parameters. We have a HVAC issue that's starting to become costly, and I'm wondering if that may be something that may fit in the parameter of that funding scheme, if that's something that maybe the city can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a process for you know, submitting what you would need the funding for specifically. And, while, you know, we have to wait for Congress and the appropriation cycle, to see if that's something that will get approved. And we also, with the Prince George's County is a large county, so what we did in our selection last cycle was we wanted to make sure that it was properly spread out throughout the entirety of the county. So we made sure we had a select number from South County, a select number from Central, a select number from North County. So that is absolutely something that would fall under the jurisdiction of something that could be taken care of, but we also want to make sure and emphasize that, you know, we get a lot of requests for certain things. So if it's not necessarily through the community project funding, there's also, I'm not sure our grant program would be adjacent to that as well. But that is something that can be submitted for community project funding, and it's something we could absolutely look at.
Are you aware of a closing date on that, or is that something we can pull off
It
the
would,
website?
yeah, it's something you could put on the website, and that would, the community project funding would, again, that deadline would be sometime in spring of next year.
Okay.
Because the appropriations process on the federal level does not happen until they sort of get rolling.
And just a follow-up question, I'm sorry. And will these be impacted in any way by the, I know we're going into budgeting, the budget, and I don't think these will be impacted too much because we're in a election year, so I don't know
Yeah.
if Congress will be playing around with shutting the government down and all of that, so with appropriations and budgeting, so, but you never know.
Yeah, what I will note, and the caveat that I always give, is that because the congressman is a Democrat and the Democrats are not in the majority, we do not necessarily have direct control over what does or does not happen, given that Congress is controlled by the Republicans or the GOP at this point in time. So in that sense, I don't know. But generally speaking, and specifically because we're rolling into the election season, there's a blackout period for communications and things like that. So there's a few things that they have to take care of, and coming once we get into the next year with the new Congress, then that will be the time where like a lot of the emphasis and energy is focused directly on appropriations.
Okay, thank you so much.
I had one question on the spring 25 timeline, because I remember in the past, there's been really short turnaround times.
Yes.
So is that something that we should anticipate for next spring?
I will note that's relative to the election. Again, I have the context of having worked in the congressman's office in DC, and that was relative specifically to the language for appropriations requests that was released by leadership in the House of Representatives. So while from the context of the work that my colleagues are doing in DC, that appropriations process is always something that's going to be relatively hectic. When situationally, specifically last year, the Republicans were essentially, you know, delaying when they were releasing that appropriations language. And the only thing that we could tell constituents when they were asking, when is the form going to be released? How much time am I gonna have, is we do not know because we do not have that information, right? So I will, again, defer back to making sure we exercise our right to vote in whatever way that looks like for you. Because situationally, if, you know, the congressman's colleagues who are on the same side of the aisle as him are in power, then we would have more direct access to that information in a period of time that would make it easier to get that information to our constituents so that that turnaround time is not as short. But again, that's relative to who's in control.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
No problem.
And thank you for giving us these updates. We always appreciate hearing from our congressman's office, and we enjoy having you all at our events. Please come back and visit us soon.
Yeah, again, I'd note that Juneteenth celebration was a great event. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll move forward with our department reports. Ms. Smithbud, would you like to come up and give the treasurer report?
Good evening, Vice Mayor Gomez, Commissioners and residents. You've been provided a copy of the Treasurer's Report for FY '24. Year end, please accept my report as submitted. The total expenses exceeded income by $2.1 million, but $2.1 million covered by opera funds, which were left over from the previous year. So the expenses for operations were very close to the funds received. So we had just a short kind of gap of about $56,000 between that. Total revenue was over budget by $470,000. The major reasons for that were local taxes were up by $320,000 and the state share taxes by $47,800. $550,000 of the prior year reserve was budgeted to cover this year's expenses, but were not needed because the sufficient funds were received to cover the expenses for the year. Operating expenses were over budget by $500,000, but were covered by the increased revenue mentioned earlier. We have a healthy financial position at the end of the year with $2.9 million cash on hand. We have begun the FY '24 audit and anticipate updated numbers per the audit completion. As we move into September, we are on target to go live with OpenGov. We are moving into the testing and demo phase. That's my report. Thank you. Any questions?
Any questions from the commission? Okay, thank you. So next we have the Human Resources Report. Mr. Lawson?
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Chris Lawson, Human Resources. I don't actually have a full report. I have more of an update this evening. And my update is on our hiring status. We still are in the process of recruiting a number of positions with interviews taking place currently for code enforcement officers, police, and police corporal. As you know, police continues to be the most elusive position to recruit that I think I've ever taken on, but we're doing everything we can, networking conversations, talking to other law enforcement officials, getting references, recommendations, posting in multiple places, and turning up individuals, but not meeting the test of our police department in terms of moving forward as a hire. So we also have an administrative coordinator position that we're seeking for public safety as well. As it relates to the city clerk position, we have had 4 interviews, 2 finalists so far, and we are considering 1 additional candidate, possibly. We have 2 finalists now that we think either will be, good, but there's a potential that we'll have a 3rd. Okay. So that's where we are in terms of our recruitment for open positions. We are happy to announce that we have hired a senior center project manager. Her name is Melanie Davis. I'm going to stop there and let Mr. Thomas, I don't know if he's here tonight. Is he here? There he is, Tamiko. I will let him take that role of introducing Ms. Davis and his plans for the department. In July, where are we, September? Yeah, in July, you will recall that we talked about the employee benefits, and I gave you specific providers and plan ideas and so forth. We are hoping that at the next work session that you will be ready to give us the final go-ahead. We presented the vendors and the ideas. At the next work session, we'll go over costs versus current versus projected costs, and hope to get a approval from you to be able to move ahead and stay on target for our October development and launch of most of these benefits for the first of the year. I do believe also that our city manager may have information that he'll be able to share during that discussion as well in terms of some survey items that we'll want to discuss during that meeting as well. And I think that's all I have at this time, unless you have any questions.
Any questions
No.
from anyone?
I just have one, so.
Sure.
It's okay.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. So we are good. When it comes to the police, I just want the community to know that it's not our pay, because we made our pay
No.
competitive.
No.
We offer great benefits. It's just hard.
Yeah.
The policing profession is difficult right now. People, I don't know, just because of the nature of the way that people are looking at policing in a very negative context. It's just very difficult, and this area is very competitive. People
Very.
think that this area is so many different police departments. You have Secret Service, you have all these small boutique agencies that have different police departments. You'd be surprised who have police departments. And they take people and they don't have to really deal with some of the pressures that other police departments have to deal with. And they're very lucrative to go into. So it's just a difficult draw, and we don't want to hire anybody for our residents.
Right.
We do get applications, but one thing that we are very mindful of is who we want to police our community. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos about some of these instances where police come into people's houses and some of the things that they are doing to people. One of the things that I'm very mindful of, having been a police officer and having worked with people like that, is that we are not going to have those types of things happen to our residents in our community. We don't want our residents to be afraid of people policing us. And so we are going to be very mindful and very careful about who we allow to come in our community and police our community. And that means we'll go without before we allow rogue police officers to come in our community and disrespect us or treat us in a way other than we are supposed to be treated. So I just want you all to be patient with us. We're doing the best we can, but we're going to do this the right way.
Yeah. And thank you for that, Commissioner, because that's spot on. And I do want to remind everybody that we did just hire a police sergeant and a police lieutenant, and they were at the top-notch
That's
level.
right.
So we're going to keep going, and we're going to get this done. We just run into, some issues as to whether or not, they meet the litmus test that you just
That's right.
so well described. So, yeah,
We're going to do it the right way.
we'll be fine there.
I have one question.
Sure.
So how many code enforcement officers are we looking to bring on?
Just one additional.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now, anyway, that's what has been presented.
Okay.
I'm not sure if Chief will provide some additional update as of just recently or not, but we're looking at one right now,
Okay.
one additional.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
That's it?
Lawson.
Okay, thank you
Yes.
too. All right.
Okay, next up, we have Public Works. Ms. Washington?
Good evening, Commissioner. Good evening, Mayor. How are you? Vice Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry now. Let me put it up a little bit more. Good evening, Commission and Vice Mayor. Please accept my July and August report, department report. So I structured this a little bit differently. Decided to list the updates of our infrastructure and maintenance repairs. The walking trail update, Friday on September 6th, we should be assessing that trail. It's scheduled by Long and Fence for them to come out and actually provide us with the quote so that we can give something to Legit. The gym window and press box repairs, they were actually working on those today. However, we had a little bit of a slight delay because the glass was slightly off and it did not fit perfection. So we're getting it refitted and done again, and hopefully it'll be, we still have the target date for September 10th to be completed. However, that may change depending on materials that we might have to reorder, because it took about a week for us to get that glass ordered in size. The storage removal and cleanup, that was great. We cleaned out the storage containers, room 401, the snack shack, and the recreation storage area as well. That was in preparation too for the commanders. But just to also make sure we get a clean sweep of everything in that entire space, because they won't utilize all of that space, but it's just good to have all of that space, just in case. Hanging wires from Hemingway Church, they have been removed and identified. So thank you to Kyle and Tony and working with the contractors to get that executed too as well, because whew, that was a long time coming. We painted recreation down in the foyer area as well. We'll be doing the doors and everything starting next week, so that'll be the second phase of that as well. We're waiting, I have to work with recreation too to make sure that the color confirmed is confirmed. The field fence and basketball court, sorry Commissioner Tillman isn't here, but he would love to hear that. That has also been repaired, yay, and replaced. I am going to work on actually getting the padlock with a combination lock. So if we also want to, and I'll work with Jeff too to see if we also want to have someone rent the basketball court, that's something that can be done just by the change of a code and a padlock. But we'll look into that further down the line. The playground project is scheduled for November 25th. That'll be the second part of that project. And that's it for that portion. The request for quotations, we're working on the recreation updates. We had to resubmit or make a couple of adjustments to the current RFQ that we had, and we reposted it. We couldn't get enough qualifying contractors that, again, because we want to make sure that we're giving top tier and we're not just taking anything or anyone. So we put it back out there, but that's going to close on September 30th.
That's for the bathrooms?
Yeah, that's for the bathroom, because it would have been the 23rd, but it was a slight delay getting that out, so we pushed it to the 30th. Purchasing and resource management, you'll notice, because Gary was supposed to come in and install our new locks this week, will be coinciding with the same locks as the police department too as well. And that's just to make sure that everything is up to date and we don't have to worry about certain issues anymore. We can change the code at a press of a button. And everybody can have their own individual ID too as well. So shout out to the police department too for getting us that contact as well. We had to purchase Be Protective headgear, which is in processing now. The company that we previously went to go purchase for, they couldn't provide us with the actual full suits, and I didn't feel like ordering from one part from another vendor. So we canceled that order, reordered with everyone, with a new vendor who was going to provide us with, because we have 2 people on our staff that are allergic to bees, that if they can't take an EpiPen, they would need to go straight to the fire department. And because of all the outbreaks that we had with the bees, we removed several beehives from this installation and also throughout the city as well. So our team did a great job doing that too as well, but that gear hopefully will be in by next week and we'll be prepared to have it for next summer as well. I don't know what it was, but the bees it was a lot of different outbreaks throughout the city, so shout out to my guys for bearing with us through that. Weather monitoring, employee scheduling, so there was a storm that we recently had too. We had a lot of flooding with the some storm drains and things like that. Thanks to Kyle again, he was able to get onto the roof to unclog all of the drains. Shout out to Angie too. She got all the other gutters with the dog gutters cleaned out too. We still have one more that they missed, but we caught it and they're coming back to clean that. That's the one that's in the back by the snack shack. But we should be good. We're working on the preventative maintenance plan too. That will include also making sure that that doesn't happen to us again just by getting the gutters cleaned out once a year, but it wasn't done for some time. Events and community engagement, we did the National Night Out celebration. We helped with that. We had a community yard sale and shred day. Oh, I want to give a special shout out to my students too as well for the National Night Out and my team. We were here from the beginning and we were the very last people to leave. Yes, and they did exceptionally well with helping out, and thank you. They did exceptionally well with helping out on all facets of the field and being very active in that, so I appreciate them for that too as well. The community yard sale and shred day was great. We collaborated with Bates and residents as well, so that was a successful event too. We did the book back giveaway with InStyle as well, supporting that event as one of our community partners and sponsors. And that will conclude that part of my report. Now moving on to neighborhood assessments and weekly neighborhood assessments. So I actually wanted Kyle to see, I hate to call on you, to see if he wanted to come up to give us a little bit of insight, because he's the one that's on the field doing the legwork and the groundwork along with Tony as well. So I feel like it would kind of hit home coming more from him. Welcome, Kyle
Come
Thompson.
on down. I like the variety.
Yes, indeed. New voices.
Right.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, family. Good evening, residents. Good evening, Vice Mayor. Good evening, Commissioner Harcourt, Commissioner Pamela. So how I look at the assessments is I look from the top to the bottom. I try to observe, report, and take action for it. Because most of our residents take reserve, but they don't take action. They just report it. I'm trying to get to where I can see it before they see it. So basically, from the top to the bottom, even if the stop signs, we can go from the small details from the stop sign being faded. A lot of residents don't know that, but I do, because I'm a resident, and I'm not going to call myself a resident, I would like to call myself a guest, and I like to look at the community and a neighborhood. Because everything that y'all don't see, we catch it before y'all even walk out the house, we catch it before y'all even walk the dogs, exercise. So we look at street repairs, we look at cracks, we look at paint that's faded on the curves. We look at striping, and we look at trees overgrown on our exercise equipment. We look at I look at everything. I try to look at everything. So, hanging wires. So it was to the point I seen too many hanging wires. So we was just stopping people on the side of the roads. They had bucket trucks. Hey, y'all do this? Or can y'all identify this and all that? So I like the fact that I like to report it and take action for it. And that way it take hair out of the residents' heads that keep calling. I know y'all get tired of hearing the calls. So,
No, I'm sure they don't get it.
well, y'all love it, right? So pretty much that's how our assessment, and every time we do assessments, it's always something different. Because I remember one of the residents had asked me, what's your expectations like you see in the city? And it's not more so as expectations, it's more so of what I don't see. Because if I come out the house and I don't see this couch been sitting there for about 6 days and all. You don't see that here in our city. Everything stick out like a sore thumb. Even if people like to use our city as a dump site, and it sticks out. Even in our alleyways, because we got 9 alleys, if the residents don't know. We got 9 alleys, and people like to utilize that and throw debris, try to throw everything. And we catch that. And I would like to, to give a shout out to Ms. Wash for updating us with the Monday app. And it's so much stuff in that Monday app, and there's still stuff we don't even make it to the Monday app that we got to implant. So I just, if y'all see us outside working, give us a shout out, give us water, hydrate us. We out there. We out there, and I appreciate my staff. I appreciate you all for giving us this opportunity and this platform for us to kind of proceed the city and everything. I appreciate it. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Well, I have one question, and maybe we can get a little bit more specific, but thank you for
Sure.
this. So, can you share how often are we doing these assessments? How long are you typically out on the streets? What days are you out on the streets? I know we also divide the city into sections, so can you just give a little bit of detail about how you conduct the neighborhood assessments and when?
Well, my assessments, I try to do at least one assessment, one section per week. And it probably entails at least 4 hours, because not only that I'm driving, I'm getting out the car. You don't see a lot driving. You see a lot walking. So that's where I do, and that's what I notice, a lot of drains. And it's also a lot of areas that I see that's WSSC's issue, and I have a contact with them. I have a personal contact with their inspection. Same with PG. So everybody, so they know me, and they get tired of hearing me. So that's one of the issues. It's on foot. It's mainly on foot. Sometimes it's just to drive here and there, but it's usually to walk the section. And I want to get the residents involved in what sections they live in as well. So I want to do the legwork to pretty much get them information of where they stand. Because the only time when they worry about what sections they are is when it's like leaf collection. But I want them to know, especially if we got our street sweeper system. That's also too when I look at for our assessments as well. Any other questions?
Any other questions on the neighborhood assessment before we wrap up the report?
Yeah, I can actually give a little bit more insight too.
Okay,
Yeah, please.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Thanks, Kyle.
thank you, Kyle.
Thank you. Yay! I'm so proud. Okay. So we conduct the assessments every week. And it's Monday through Thursday usually, like you said, one assessment a day. Friday, we try to keep it a little bit lighter to cover some things. The assessments are now being posted on the districtheights.org website. So you'll see it starting from, it just started in July, July 7th, actually. So we have them posted, the 3 of them are there. And the newer ones will be posted as well. So you can go and see if anything's been delayed. What we're trying to do is knock them out as soon as we notice them. So we do 1 week of assessing, the next week is knocking out that previous section. And depending on what our current efforts are, a section may take us a little bit longer. Like for instance, we had the commanders come in, we had to kind of like make sure we can navigate and split duel. Or we have these tasks, but we don't have the team members here, you know, to execute. So we have to make sure that we kind of split those things and it's not too much of an overload. But we've been knocking them out as we get them, unless it's a hold on someone else's part that we can't do. And we've also been working with police department to make sure that if there's a code enforcement issue, we can just send it on over. So that's that. Talking about the Monday app, we did, actually it says 41, we did 51 work orders actually in August alone, and about 47 the previous month as well. And that's just work orders, not including the assessments at all. And those are pretty much all completed too, as well. And the DPW summer work program, I would like to end a little bit with that. It was great. We had 4 to 5 students, and we also had 1 college volunteer as well, who wants to come back to work here. That was a very great program. It ended on the 23rd. The students received awards that were given by Vice Mayor Gomez as well. Thank you for joining us too, along with Madam Mayor, she was there too. They received OSHA safety standards, environmental protection practices, equipment handling and safety protocols, along with emergency response procedures. And that is actually a certificate that they can take with them somewhere else. It was backed, shout out to Udemy again for making sure that we can get that training set for them too. We have a couple of upcoming events coming up, but that ceremony and having those students here was very impactful. I'm sure a lot of you saw them out in the community too as well. They were great, and I look forward to maybe possibly expanding or redoing the program again next year. So the upcoming community efforts that we're working on, of course, the spraying will still happen, the mosquito spraying will still happen until the 30th, ending of September, which they kind of are fading away a little bit now, but they're still out there. We're doing the American Bloom actually conference. It's not a visit and tour, and that will be the 23rd to the 24th. Marvin, which is our master landscaper, along with our assistant director, will be attending that. And we're planning on doing Power in the Park and along with our town hall on October 5th. So I just wanted to put that out there. So, you know, we are looking for volunteers too as well. So if you have any volunteers that you would like to throw our way, please throw them our way. And Angie will get them processed. You can send us an email at publicworks@districtheights.org. We also have, what I didn't list here was a sustainability designation that I'm also working on too as well for us to renew our designation. So that's another thing that's up and coming. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
I do. Commissioner, I'll let you go first. All right, well, thank you, sir. A couple questions. The first question I have is about the playground project. For those residents that may not be aware of what that is, can you give us a little bit more information about that, if you can?
Of course I can. So the second phase of the playground project, if you notice the slope, the project that's right up here at the top of the hill, there's a slight slope and there's like a little bit of divisiveness. So prior to my coming, or my tenure, a discussion of having slides or some kind of connecting wall or something there to kind of bridge the gap between the two. And I also thought that it was a major safety issue not having something to protect our kids from up there. So instead of doing like one single slide, it'll be multiple slides coming down that area to kind of connect them from the top to the bottom. We're going to make sure everything looks beautiful and blended in. We're using, the color is chartreuse of the slides. I hope y'all like that color because that's the current different color that's kind of already over there. But yeah, that was a project that was started with the Recreation Department, and I just came in to finish the second phase. So we're working with them, and we're on the schedule, and I'm just excited to be on the schedule. So hopefully that project should only take about a week, if that, to conclude. So, hey, who knows? If they can get us scheduled in before Thanksgiving, he said he definitely will put us on the schedule if the parts come early.
Okay, I have a couple more
Okay,
questions.
no worries.
For the bee protection headgear, and I guess it's the whole suit
So it's only
that you're getting.
two for two of our staff members that are completely
Okay.
allergic.
That is a big deal, because I've noticed an uptick in the bee
Mm-hmm.
population. But is that just for our city in terms of just our facilities, or is that a service that we may want to offer to some of our more senior residents that might be having an issue with a removal of a hive, not?
Oh, okay, a
Yeah.
removal of a hive. We have actually got a company, because our guys don't have the equipment to actually do that. So we had someone come in to remove them throughout the city, which they were able to identify and remove quite swiftly. So if I can recommend or have that information, if that's something that I can do ethically, then I will give you that vendor, because it's a vendor information that we use,
Okay.
totally,
Okay.
so.
And then for the yard sale and shred day,
Mm-hmm.
how many, because I understand it was very well attended.
Yes.
Can you give us some numbers about the number of vendors?
I know we had 5 vendors, but with those 5 vendors, they brought others. So it ended up being about 8. And with the shred day, I know that we had at least 100 to 200 residents just coming to shred
Okay, that's
things.
good.
So, because it was like a drive-through, the way the schematics was set up, which was great, shout out to the police department again too for helping me with that. Figure out how we were going to make sure that it can all facilitate and work fluidly. And Angie was able to be in full attendance for that event too, so it was great. I look forward to actually trying to do those twice a year, along with more sustainability events too, twice a year as well. Because you have a spring clean out and you got a winter clean out, so I just feel like it kind of matches.
And then my final is not a question, it's a comment, in that sometimes I don't think that people recognize how important and all of the work that our Public Works Department does in this city.
Thank you.
And I'm so grateful that you have staff that are being very proactive and, going around our city and seeing where the problems are and fixing it before a resident calls. I just want to say really thank you for all that
Thank
your
you.
team does, all of the managers on the Public Works Department does for our community, for our residents, and I know they really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Can I add one more thing, though? Because you just triggered something. We actually are working on trying to figure out a way to put in a work order electronically on 2 ways. But the text one is a little bit more technical, but mostly on the website too as well. That you can put a work order in, you can get it tracked, it'll have a response, and we're working with Monday App to get that executed along with our communications department. But that is something that is in the works, but I just want you to know that that's something that we're working on to kind of keep you updated on that. And that actually concludes it, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was a wonderful report. I just want to commend you and Public Works. You guys been doing a bang-up job. I've
Thank
been
you.
riding this, I ride the city all the time in the alleys and everything.
Thank you.
And I want to tell you first, I got an opportunity to ride along through the city with you, Kyle, and the city manager. Took a day off. We rode the city.
Yep.
We did some critiques. It was great to have Kyle come along to look at the city from 2 perspectives.
Yep.
That as a resident and as working here. And when you see it from those different perspectives, and I often get out the car because I'm pulling those signs down.
Yeah,
and-
now I walk with my little cut blade
Yeah,
thing to
I-
cut them off too.
That's my pet peeve. I don't like them, so I'm always out. Today I pulled 2 or 3 of them out on my way home from work. And so I really appreciate you taking my recommendations and incorporating those with the street sweepers, just going the extra mile outside the
The
lines.
little lines to just, it's a street sweeper, just to make sure that
What's
our
entryway
entryway into our
is
city
clear.
is clear and beautiful, because people don't know the lines. But it makes a huge difference on the pride that we have for our community. Because we want our residents to feel good about coming home. And it makes a big difference about how we feel about ourselves, and how, people treat our city. Because, people, when they see a clean city, they think twice about throwing garbage in a clean city. And so it's so, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
That you did everything. And so I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
But the city looks amazing. And I'm just looking forward to all of the different things. The assessment is great. I hope we can get some occasional night assessments so we can, I've been riding around trying to get the lights. I'm usually tired, but I try to
Okay.
do it. So if we
Actually,
can,
that's, yeah.
every blue moon, if we can get some assessments, because I do Ward 1. I know I need to get over and do Ward 2. I don't know if anybody gets over and do Ward 2. I'm trying to get over there because I don't know Ward 2 as well as I do know Ward 1. And I try to get as many lights as I can. Some of them I can't see as well because of the numbers on the poles. And I know you need the pole numbers, but I know you respond quickly when I do send you the pole numbers.
Yeah.
But it may be helpful if we can get
Somebody
maybe
just-
annual, just a night, maybe every 3 months or something, where somebody just stays late and just to check the lights.
Yeah, okay.
Other than that, just thank you, but the city looks great. And I really like the new landscaping, it's great.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
Yes. Oh, I have a couple of
Okay.
questions and some comments. Thank you for this report. We met with Mr. Street last week and with Tony to just go over all of our priorities, and I can say that this is probably about a quarter to a third of everything that we have ongoing right now. I think these are the relevant ones for right now, but the list is very long, but we are pushing through and we're moving through that list, and I'm impressed. And
Thank
so
you.
I'm happy to see that, some of these things are big ones, like getting the gym windows replaced.
That was
with
a
the
long,
cracks
that
and
was a
bullet
long
holes.
one, that.
Yes, that's a big deal, right? That we're gonna have clean, unbroken
Broken
glass
glass, yeah.
in our gym, right?
Yeah, and our press box, and we can utilize that now,
Yes,
so.
exactly. And I mean, another big one, and I just want to call this out to residents, is the Lockley Secure for all of our doors. Because how much were we paying every time we had to change the code?
I don't want to say,
Someone-
I don't,
You have to say it and say it loudly.
Yeah.
it was like $340 something dollars.
How much?
340 something.
Okay. $340
To get the code.
plus sales tax
Yes.
every time we change the codes to our doors, which we do anytime we have staff join or leave us.
Or
So
any
you-
changes.
Any
at-
changes. So
at-
you can imagine the cost annually over the course of, how long has that door been there?
I've only been here for a year, well, almost a year, so.
Yes.
So you're talking about, you're probably talking about tens of thousands of dollars over the
Yes.
course of 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
So this is a really, really big deal that we were able to move forward with this. And I just want to make sure that,
Thank you.
we give that some praise and some focus. I did have a question on the hanging wires in Hemingway. So is Iron Tech a contractor who will just come out and remove wiring?
Yeah, so
Okay.
Tony and Kyle, like he exactly explained, they were asking all the drivers, because everyone that we contacted, they come out, we can't do it, or they're charging astronomical prices that were just like ridiculous. This person came and did it for like $200, $300. It was something slight, and they're willing to work with us to do that throughout the city. They're also able to identify wires. So they're not just going to come out and say, oh, he can say that's Verizon, that belongs to Pepco, this belongs to, the resident or whatever, what have you. He's able to identify it, and then we're able to actually pinpoint a contact. And if we cannot, he can take care of it with no problem. So he'll be an ongoing contractor throughout the city. So if you won't see see hanging wires as much anymore because we can just get him to come in and take care of two. He actually took care of two for us.
Okay, so maybe that's something we also add to the list of projects, because we have a lot of hanging wires across the city.
Yes.
And similar to how we did the tree
Trees,
audit, we can do an audit for the hanging wires and then maybe just have them come out and remove everything. And then maybe we want to consider doing like a service contract with them, so that they can just come out on call. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just writing it down, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just want to echo what my colleagues have said. DPW has done an amazing job. They're doing a phenomenal job between the events that we had this summer, the landscaping that we're doing, the medium and long-term projects that we're doing, and then on top of just trying to get us to a good base service line, which has been my goal since I've joined, is let's do what we're supposed to be doing well, and then we're adding all of these projects on top of it. I mean, we're doing a great job. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
So please pass that along to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your report.
Thank you so much. You all have a good evening.
Okay, we have Family and Youth Services, Miss Emerson. Hello, hello.
Good evening, Vice Mayor Gomez, Commissioner Harcourt, and Commissioner Jennifer. Please accept my report as submitted. Also, good evening, residents as well, and city staff. I just want to highlight a few things. Everything is written here, but I really want to focus on one of the biggest challenges that the YSB has had in the past, and that is hiring staff. And so over the past 2 months, we have been able to hire. So I'm very happy to say that we do have new clinicians on staff here at the YSB. Our part-time staff clinician, Tannery Atik, is now a full-time clinician here at the YSB. So she is now having more days at the school providing services to the students at District Heights Elementary, and she will also see clients in the evening at the Bureau as well. We also hired this past month Christina Richardson. She is a licensed master social worker. She is a District Heights resident. She found out about the Youth Services Bureau at District Heights Day, and she interviewed, and we really, really are happy to have her on staff. We found out that she has some niche skills that we are going to, I want to say, utilize in a healthy and positive way. She has experience with curating book fairs and working with, she was with Mahogany Books before in DC. So we will be reaching out to you, Commissioner Jennifer, to go back to the Library of Congress so that we can get the project with the little book libraries throughout the city, put that together. So we are making her the curator for that, and we have had some interest from the community as well. So we will be meeting with community members to make sure that we can curate that for you. In addition, we do have an intern with us. Her name is Brene Retief. She's here with us today. She's in the back here. She is a graduate student at Trinity University in Washington, D.C. She will be with us from beginning in August, and she'll be with us until August of next year, and she will be a clinical intern providing counseling services. So we do have clinicians available to be able to provide those mental behavioral health counseling services to the community. So we are very excited about that. So we just have one more position that's open, and then we will be fully staffed. In addition to that, in the midst of this being a very busy year of transition for the city of District Heights, we did not want this year to go by without acknowledging that the District Heights Family and Youth Services Bureau is in their 20th year of providing mental behavioral health counseling services. We started in the spring of 2004. We are deciding to commemorate by providing all of our supporters, constituents, city leadership with our 20th year pin. So if you don't mind, I'll share this with you. For every one of you. It's a pin that's indicating our 20 years of service. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. So these pins commemorate all the work that the Youth Service Bureaus have done over the past 20 years, so please wear them with pride because they are a testament to your support of the City of District Heights Youth Service Bureau and the services that we provide to this community. What I would like to do now is transition to another big project that we have coming. It is in just a few days. If you have not registered, please register for the My Soul Knows 5K Run Walk, which will take place on Saturday, September the 21st at 9 a.m. You can register, run sign up is open. You can also register at Bishop Events, or you can call the Bureau for those who are having challenges with trying to register, and our admin assistant, Melissa, will help you get registered for this event. We will be, as I said, myself and the mayor will be attending a segment, thank you, Kelly, for that, making sure that that happens with WUSA 9. So we will be promoting this event on Tuesday afternoon. So with WUSA 9, what they will do is promote the event for us on their social networks and then also on their website as well. So please, please, please don't forget to register. It is a great event. It is to support the mental behavioral health counseling services at the Bureau, and then also the other activities that you do see us provide, which are the college tours, the family engagement activities, and then also supporting the community garden that's located at Woodland Springs. And so, if there are any questions.
I'm just happy.
Not as happy as I am with new staff.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, trust me, I've been counting, so I'm excited. So our staff technically will have 3 licensed social workers, and then we have 3 licensed professional counselors on staff. So I'm very excited about that.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Commissioner Jennifer?
I do not. Thank you.
No, I'm great. I'm happy. I'm just happy, right?
Okay.
Well, thank you so
Thank
very
you so
much.
much, Ms. Emerson.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Senior Services, Mr. Thomas.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor Gomez, Commission members, and residents. I want to start by explaining that I had a battle with the copy machine that I lost. So I want to give everyone here the current copies of the assessment earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This month for us, as we continue to try and get towards the point where we're opening the doors, has been interesting, but also, I think, a learning experience, but very productive. I think the simplest way to get through all the things that I've turned in is just to go to the activity report, and then from there, I'll welcome any questions, and I can direct you to the attachments that are associated with those points. First, I'll start with the hiring of the program manager. That was a process. I think we got a very good candidate in Miss Melanie Davis. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to be here with us today. She comes with a wealth of background experience in social services and some services or experience directly with seniors. So I welcome having her aboard. To this point, I've been here pretty much by myself, except for my team members. And just to stay on that point for a minute, each one of the team members that here at the Mission Building have been very helpful to me. Everyone. I've learned a lot about the process and a lot more about the city. So I just want to thank every department for helping me thus far. The next thing is we've created a preliminary staffing schedule since we had a program manager and ways to fit in our volunteers and staff so we can kind of spread them effectively throughout the building. The building is 2 floors, so we want to be conscious in terms of spending, but we also want to be considered in terms of safety. So some of those things I've spread out in the work schedule, the work schedule that I put forward to give just a basic idea of what we think we can do with the volunteers and the staff that we have. We've also created a schedule of activities. Now I'm very excited to announce that we had 7 RFPs go out, and we have responses in every category except for 1, which is musical instruction. So I'm looking forward to reading them. The cutoff date was yesterday. It was today. So we have a lot of people who responded at the last minute. Some of the businesses are right here in District Heights, so I'm excited about that. And I'm excited to work with them to build our activity schedule as we move forward. We've also got a number of calls from community folks who want to come in and do something with the senior. So I'll continue to work with David and vet those to see what things would be appropriate, what people really have an investment in our seniors, and how to move forward with those. We've hosted at least two meetings each month since I've been here. And they are from ARP, generally ARP, and also the Christmas Committee. So we'll continue to do that. We have 7 scheduled meetings coming up. And again, those things help us to see how the building functions with people in it. So we're thankful for that. And also, I bugged the air about volunteers. If you look in the packet, you'll see the volunteer flyer that Kelly developed, our Director of Communications, that we're going to push out more and more now that we have our email and all that thing straight with the number changes that Commissioner Jennifer suggested. So it's out now, but it'll go out a little more next week. And some of the people who called to inquire about volunteering now will have something official to refer to. I have trying to garner support for something I talked about when I first got here, which is the Intergenerational Holiday Project. It's a very simple project, but it's literally new, like I finished writing yesterday. So what I'm doing now is seeing what is possible with the time frame that we have left before December. And what I mean by that is talking to some of my colleagues who actually have relationships in the schools to see if this is a project we can do now or plant the seeds for it next year. And it's written in its entirety on the report that I submitted. And also cuts in conversation. One of the things from our needs assessment, it seemed to suggest that there was very limited male support or male participation in senior centers. And I actually visited a number of senior centers to try and get a gist of what that means and what that looks like for them, and the things they're trying to do to get men in. And those centers include Baden Center in Howard County, the Bowie Senior Center, Upper Marlboro Multipurpose Center. We received information from Camp Springs, but I didn't really get there yet. And also the PG Community SAGE program with Ms. Van Nuys. The exciting thing about that is they offer free classes for seniors, and there's a tentative agreement for them to offer classes in January or February as we begin to open the doors or move towards that point. The Cuts and Conversation flyer that you see in your packet is something I created to that point, which is to have a conversation series that includes haircuts. If we can create the barbershop, barbershop feel, conversation feel, to attract men and have something that's directly for them, to talk about things like manhood, their position in the community, and then try to turn that into an action group for mentorism later. So that doesn't cost very much, and I've talked to some folks in the community that are interested in that, so we'll see how that goes. The holiday project is a maybe, depending on where I can build some relationships quickly. The Cuts and Conversation, I think it's definitely doable almost immediately. Another issue that we're dealing with as we move towards opening are issues with the building. We had a lock issue, so we rekeyed the entire building now. So we have locks that match numbers and numbers that match locks, and I can get in all the offices, including the front door. The front door is probably the biggest issue, and Ms. Angie helped me with that, to find somebody that could actually fix the lock and the sliding door. That was the issue. So we are happy to announce that that's fixed, but also that we have keys to the whole building. So some of the other issues, like heating and air conditioning, I'm working with Lakeisha and her team with that, and we hope to get those things solved so we can move forward. Again, we have a preliminary agreement with PG Community College to offer senior classes. I don't know what that looks like in terms of what they're going to offer. It depends on what we come up with on our own and what the needs are after that point. And let's see. And we have another round of RFPs that are coming out soon to deal with building enhancements and construction, things like sinks for the art kitchen, and again, some of the other issues that we have to address. One of the things we're trying to do now is reorganize the great seating area. Right now, it's 36 people. We're hoping to redesign it, just put some tables around, do some different things so we can get up to 54 to kind of seat as many people as possible. So with that, I'm open to any questions.
Questions?
Are we ladies first?
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you. There's a lot going on with the senior building right now. And I know that residents are ready for this facility to open.
Yes.
As we are. And looking at the flyer, it looks great, but I'm wondering, I'm not trying to add more work to anyone, but I'm just wondering if it might be helpful to maybe add on, because I've spoken with a number of residents that may be interested in volunteering, and they were asking, like, what would be the request? What is it that you're looking for? And I don't know if there's a little space where you can put someone for the front desk, someone to monitor, something like that on the flyer so they can get a sense of whether or not it's something that's doable. Because they're looking at the flyer and some may think that it's something maybe a little bit more technical that you're looking for. So I just think that's just my 2 cents about the flyer, that might be helpful to add a little something about what you're looking for. And then I'm sure at a later date, we'll get a date in terms of when we're going to be fully opening. I know there's a number of things that are still needing to be tackled, some construction work that still needs to be done in the facility, but as we get kind of closer to when I don't think we need to have another open house, but some kind of like celebration. We're really truly opening whenever that is.
Yeah, it's definitely in the plans.
Yes,
So,
and then my final question is, as always, some of this information is more final than there are others. And is there any way that this information will be, like, for example, some of the programming? Is that something that we could probably get on our website to kind of get folks really excited about what's coming attractions?
Yeah, as I mentioned, the vetting for the RFPs just ended literally today. So as soon as I can work with the city manager to isolate and select some of those, then we're gonna put them out, because I am just as excited to put that information out as you guys are. When I'm out in the public or at the events, that's the number one question. So what are we offering and when are we gonna offer it? So we're anxious to get to that point where we can put that out.
Super. All right, thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes.
So to add just a little bit more detail for the commission, we expect to go to contract award over the September commission work sessions. So for those RFPs that require contract awards that hit the threshold for the commission to approve, we hope to have those before you and wrapped up before the September work sessions end. During that process, we also hope to, with the schedule, be able to give you a clear idea of when that opening date should be based off of when programming is coming online and when the second tranche of RFPs for construction issues go out onto the street.
Thank you. Oh, I'm done.
All right.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. My questions are, and maybe David can also help me with this, because I know we've had like a few openings. I don't know if we should do any more of those. I do know that seniors just kind of want to get in the building, and I think we should try to give them access to some of the building, if we can give them access to some of the building. And I know my mom lives in a senior building, and they just like a place to gather. They don't really need a lot. They have a place where they do a coffee hour. They have games and cards and stuff in there, because there's a loneliness epidemic after COVID. And, you know, what people don't realize, we're not out of COVID. And it has impacted our seniors in a horrible way. And so I think that we should, you know, I'm looking at all this programming and all of this is wonderful, but we need to do something in the short term to get our seniors in that space. And so whatever we can do to let them have that space because it's theirs, we should do it. So if they can get part of the space, open it up. If you can just put a coffee pot in there, and we can put donuts or refreshments, open the doors. That's just my thing, because our seniors are active. They like to get together and chat, and, you know, I think we should let them have it.
So right now, we have the building open for select meetings for our stakeholders and community members. So I can work with David to see what else we could do with the limitations that we have.
Right, I mean, so do we have games? Do we have cards? Do we have, you know, do we
We
have
will.
dominoes? Do we have, are we already amassing those things?
So the way I'm hearing this request is a request to staff to come back to the commission. We can do this as soon as the next work session with a proposed open date for open access.
Yep.
Right, open access is not programmed access.
That's
So
right.
the classes might be coming online
Yep,
in a month, 2 months, what have you. And we may have, you know, 1 or 2 intermittent closures if we have to turn the water off to install a
Yes,
sink.
ma'am.
But open access hours would be exactly what you're talking about, which is coming, congregating, maybe coffee, maybe tea, and, you know, books, games, you know, light recreation.
Yeah,
And so
from
if
9,
if I'm hearing a request from the dais, you want us to bring that back, and I think we can turn that around for Tuesday.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that'd be
Okay.
great.
and Commissioner Jennifer, she has access to the Library of Congress. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Nope.
But we can utilize that. That's a tool with our surplus book program, where we can go down there. You can maybe roll with her,
Yep.
get some books in there. They have great books. We need a place for our folks to go.
Right.
And that place is a place for them to go, and we should give it to them. And, you know, this is great, but, you know, we're also paying you, and this is cool, but I think, you know, you should get to know our seniors. They're great people.
Yes, they are.
They're
The-
great
the
people.
only response I would have to
And-
that-
And I don't want to cut you
Okay.
off, but, and trust me, they will tell you exactly what they want. Our seniors are very vocal. They will tell you, more than any surveys or any of this stuff, they'll tell you if this stuff will work or not. They'll tell you.
So I'm definitely trying to re-engage with the building committee to see how that happens, but I really have been cautious to move forward because there are systematic things that we want them to be safe in this space.
I understand.
So with that considered though, we'll do the best we can.
I understand, like I'm saying, if there's areas, maybe it's just the first floor. They don't have to be everywhere, but you can get somebody in here, give them some of that, let them in there. They want to go in there. So get somebody in here. If you have to get an inspector to come in here and look and tell us this part is safe, this part isn't, do it. Let them have that building. It's been too long.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay, next we have Police and Code Enforcement. Chief Tarpley.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, residents. It's a pleasure seeing everyone. I've been gone for a little bit. Before I started, I had the pleasure of attending the Homeland Security Training Leadership Institute. It was very interesting. Me, a couple other chiefs and sheriffs, and other high-ranking officials from other departments across the country. We got to share some ideas and talk about different things that we're doing in our departments and learn some new and updated ways how to handle some things. And one of those things we talked about was recruiting your culture, right? That's kind of how we did here, is when we hire people, we hire, like you said, Vice Mayor, people who, officers who are going to be in line.
Commissioner.
Commissioner, what did I call you, officer?
Commissioner, you said Vice
No,
Mayor.
Vice Mayor, oh,
That's
sorry.
her.
Yeah. We hire officers who are within our culture of our community, right? We try to get to them that don't come in over-policed, that aren't super, we call it jumpy, if you will. And we do get a number of applicants, just to speak on that. And we do cipher through quite a few that do not meet our criteria of hiring here. So just to speak on that hiring portion, we do have quite a few, and we've worked with Mr. Lawson a lot on that recruiting portion, and it's just time and labor intensive when we talk about what type of officers we want to bring to our city here. And with that being said, we did talk about hiring. We hired on
sergeant and our new lieutenant, Lieutenant Dominic Waters, actually in the back there. He comes to us with about 14 years of law enforcement experience. He's also one of those people who talk about top notch. We get the cream of the cream, right? So I talk about rebuilding, rebranding, and building back community trust. This is part of it here, getting supervisors who have that same vision with myself and the deputy chief moving forward and bringing that commitment back to the city and our residents. So with that being said, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, residents, please accept my report for August 2024. It's going to look a little different this year, so as we're moving forward, we're going to revamp my monthly report. Right now, I'm just going to show you all from 2024 through current, 2022 through current, some of our numbers and some of our trends you'll see. As you see, we're trending in a good way. If you see some of our crimes against persons and property crimes are down, some of our assaults are down, our thefts and frauds are down, our robberies and vandalisms are down, which is good. We want to see that over the, I came in 2022, and from now, you see we have that downward trend, which is actually very good. That's what you want to see your numbers. What we have up in is a lot of complaints when I came here about the traffic enforcement. It's still a major complaint, but you see the numbers there. We've gone up. You see in our impounds would usually result in some type of traffic stop and citation, which in the rest, for various reasons will result in an impound. We're up about 400 for 2024. Our arrests, which are up, are usually because we're making interactions with people who are breaking the law of some sort. So our arrests you see over the years are up, which is also good, meaning that officers are out there making more stops, engaging more, and taking more action where the law allows them to. You'll see that our stop sign enforcement numbers have gone up over the past 3 years. Same thing with our seatbelt enforcement, which we know those two things were a large number, a continuing issue that we continue to face in here with the speeding and the people running stop signs. And you'll continue to see those going up as we've hired, keep hiring new people and developing new strategies. We're pretty consistent with our revenue stream when it comes to our photo enforcement. We've been very good with that. A lot of our past, you'll see these U's are incomplete data. We passed, when I first came, we didn't have a lot of, I would say, up-to-date electronic tracking devices where we're still using Excel sheets and writing stuff on paper. So as we still sort through that and move that to the 21st century of our new SmartGov and our new databases we've implemented now, we'll be able to give more numbers from our past to current now as we're currently switching that over. So as you see, we're actually doing a very good trend. I actually have a bigger state of the address for the department I want to give, but I'll do that once we have the mayor and Commissioner Tillman back. I'm going to address the full commission if that pleases you all, so we can get the full effect and answer some of those questions that's been lingering for a while now. That being said, that would be my report for August of 2024.
Thank you, Chief Tarpley. Do we have any questions? Commissioner Harcourt?
I do. Are you going to talk about code, or you want us to do questions for this first?
I'll take both.
Okay. I just wanted to, the numbers trending down are great. I just wanted to ask, I know somebody wanted to, a resident asked me about some increased enforcement on County Road in Aztec, if we can do some enhanced enforcement on that stop sign over there. They're zipping through that. Yeah, they're blowing through there again. So if you can note that, some enhanced enforcement over there again. I don't know if maybe we should look at that. I'm thinking maybe we should just close it off. I don't know if that's something to even consider, blocking it. I don't know. Also, I'd like to just thank you. I know I made a few calls about that trailer that was on Rochelle for months. I put it in a couple times. I know I asked you to put it in, but I noticed it's gone today. So I don't know if your call made it happen because they weren't listening to me. But thank you about that. And I'm grateful that you took David and our advice to do that leadership training. So was it beneficial?
It was. It shows us that, showed me that the city and the police department, District Heights, were actually further ahead than most departments. And this is departments from all across the country, right? And sheriff's departments and
big, small, medium. So sitting and listening to the issues they're going up and mainly how behind they are when it comes to community policing and involvement and how far ahead we are, is actually pretty proud to, put my 2 cents in and let them know, hey, this is what we're doing in our city. This is the support we have from our mayor and commission. So we're actually doing, on a global, scale, we're actually doing very well when it comes to the community policing involvement, which everyone's, the big hot topic button now. So we are actually ahead of the game. We've got some good officers out here. Are we not sharing some of the same problems that I've talked to some of my colleagues from other agencies are having, which is also a plus. So I think, like I said, we're just continuing in that upward innovation, and we're going to keep on headed that way.
Great. And I just have a question about how's the enhanced enforcement up at Woodland Springs working?
Oh, excellent. That's funny. Excellent question. So, what we decided to do, and after, working with the command staff and sharing a project with David, Mr. Street there, we've decided to make that a hardened zone, right? So we have constantly officer up there, not just sitting up there with the lights on or whatever, constantly up there doing traffic enforcement, right? And that's for anything, tail lights, speeding, stop sign violation. We're just constantly doing some type of police activity up there. I've seen that what it did was just, you don't stop crime, you just kind of drive it somewhere else, right? So now the criminals, when they would catch them driving through Woodland Springs, and we're getting the traffic stops and stuff from that, they won't even drive into the city no more, right? And that's kind of what we want. When we talk about securing our city and our borders, we want people to actually drive around District Heights to go somewhere else to do your crime, right? So it's working very well up there. So far, we've got a good game plan up there. We've actually teamed up with the county to kind of expand that area, because we know we can only do so much in our borders. So working with Prince George's County District 8 and Capitol Heights on our borders to come up with a game plan, working right now to actually move over to that Walker Mill and Addison Road area to try to, expand all of our quality of life for all of us, our residents in our city, Capitol Heights residents and county residents, kind of push all that criminal element that's starting to pop its head back up, as I seen yesterday, right on our border, kind of dispel that. So if we all work together, I think we'll be able to turn that whole area, not just our city, around, because again, we don't want to have a safe city within our borders or looking like, God knows what. So that's the kind of game plan moving forward, although we've kind of, worked with the management up there and the sheriff's department and the state attorney's office and the eviction court to get people out of there, problem people out of there that they're out now. Now they have, I think, approximately 80-something units that are vacant that they're going to be turning over. And it looks like we have an influx of people applying from DC to come in, right? So we're working with the property management companies now to try to put safeguards in place that we're not going to end up in the same place, right? With, you're a good tenant, but then you let your cousin or your friend or someone stay with you, and they're the issue, right? So we're trying to make sure we don't end up back in the same place with them, to ensure that we're putting those safeguards in place, that when we see those issues, we're able to take immediate action and work through the system to get those people either evicted or dealt with immediately.
Thank you, Ms. Barrett.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
go ahead.
But my first question was, the school, District Heights Elementary in North Forestville, just started their school year. I wanted to get an update on where we are in terms of getting daily crossing guards, especially up in the front. I did see a crossing guard on the first day of school down off of what, I can't recall the name. Thank you, Vice Mayor, Rochelle. But I didn't see anyone on County Road, so where are we in terms of getting some assistance there?
So it looks like we lucked up, and we have a crossing guard, it looks like, from the daytime and evening at County Road and one at Rochelle District Heights Parkway. Mm-hmm. So now we are just responsible, officers are just responsible for the Middle District Heights Parkway in the evening, and I'm working with the county police now to make sure we have an officer out there in the morning time on the Middle District Heights Parkway for that crosswalk there. So as of right now, it seems we're good. If it changes, we do have some, since our staffing is up, we do have a backup plan, and moving forward, the budget we just approved does have some money in there for our auxiliary program that we're working on starting up pretty soon too. Okay. So we do have some fail-safes in place, so if we ever get into that place again, we'll be able to step in immediately and handle those shortages there.
Okay. And then my other comment, I don't mean to put anyone on the spot, but it looks like there might be an introduction needed for one of our new additions to the police department. Is there somebody here you want to introduce?
Can I would say Lieutenant Waters would you like to come up, say a few words? This is our new hire is Lieutenant Waters, Dominic Waters. He is in charge of our patrol division. So that means he's going to look over all the patrol officers. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you'll be addressing them about patrol. All right?
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, residents. My name is Dominic Waters. Just a brief introduction. I've been in law enforcement now for 14 years. I'm grateful to Chief Tarpley for giving me this opportunity to come here and serve the residents here in District Heights. I look forward to working with him to execute this vision that he has of making District Heights safer. But as he said, I'm in charge of patrol and operations, so pretty much anything calls for service, the staffing and everything like that, that's what I'll be dealing with. So I'll probably be more or less your point of contact when you need something. That's really all I have to say at this point in time, but I look forward to really getting to know everybody else. So far, it's been very welcoming. All of the staff and the residents that I've been able to meet at the different events that I've attended so far have been so welcoming. So I thank you for that. It makes me feel like I made the right choice coming here, so thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Chief, if folks want to reach out, do they still use that same, the main email address to reach out if they need something, assistance?
Yes, so we actually, it's going to be part of my next presentation, is we're actually revamping our email system, so it makes it very easy if you need records requests, if you need a code issues, police issues. Mainly, if you have a police issue, we still encourage you if you dial 911, right? I know I get a lot of calls on my phone, which I don't mind, but if you see something going on, you need immediate police assistance, dial 911. Again, Prince George's County and District Heights Police Department are dispatched off the same exact channel. So if you dial 911, more likely you'll get a District Heights officer to respond faster than you would call one of us.
And
Thank
what-
you.
I'm sorry, and what is the District Heights police email address?
We have a new one, which is,
We'll get,
can we roll all of them out? So
I
you
know
still
it's
can,
updated.
all the old ones you hit, like the Police 2000, you still can send it to that and it'll just be bumped to the new one, right? So, but it'd be P,
So for right now, I would continue to use the legacy email addresses. They are set up to forward to the new one. The new one is going to get rolled out
next meeting.
next
Okay.
meeting.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll wait.
All right.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
continue to use Police 2000, Code Enforcement 1. Okay, I'll give you a little sample now. So if you do have a complaint concerning anything with the police, we have one that's going to be policecomplaints@districtheights.org. That's policecomplaints@districtheights.org. If you need any type of response or anything when it talks about police department, you can email pdinfo@districtheights.org.
What was that,
PD,
PD?
police department, is PD info. Yep.
Okay.
So, thank you, sir.
Thank you, that's cool.
The code enforcement email will not change. Will that?
It will change, it has
will?
changed. And
Okay.
again,
It has not.
we'll bring that up when we, next meeting, when I revamp show the new changes the department made.
Okay,
But until then, you can still use the old email.
all right, thank you.
Okay, I have a question, a code enforcement question. So I'm thinking about the businesses on Marlboro Pike and County where we have that parking lot. And I know that we've had to have Department of Public Works go out there and cut the grass and also clean some of the litter just because it just looks so bad. But I would really like if we can focus our attention on contacting those businesses and having them take care of it themselves, or at least go through our code process so that we can do it and then make them essentially pay us for that work. So can you just provide an update on what our communication is with the strip of businesses there? And who's really responsible for keeping that parking lot clean? Is it the folks who are in those individual shops? Is there like a property owner who owns the entire strip? Because it seems to become a reoccurring issue we have every summer.
Are you referring to the one you said,
County and Marlboro Pike, so
where
like
24 Hour Tobacco's at?
the old bank location,
Yes.
and then like the parking lot where the tires are.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in that particular situation, it's always the property owner is who we hold responsible for. Whatever there is with the rentee is between them and them. So when we issue a fine, like we have a fine issued to the 24 Hour Tobacco, which we're talking about, the old bank store, to cut that grass and pick up that trash. So we'll be having a contractor come in and move that in a couple of days because their 5 days will be up. That parking lot is actually split between 24 Hour Tobacco and then the church that sits right adjacent to it. They share that at an angle. So we kind of find all all property owners. Now, if the property owner does not come down on a business owner to cut it again, once they have 5 days to come in compliance. Once we issue them a warning, they have 5 days to come in compliance. If not, we'll issue them a fine and then do a forced cleanup. Whatever money the city expends having our contractor come in to force clean that, we then will lien their property each and every time. So we have a number of houses in the city that we're preparing to lien, and a number of businesses also in the Pike we're preparing to lien.
Thank you. I mean, that's good, you know, if we're getting paid to do the work. But my main point is that the area looks bad.
That's bad.
So regardless if they're doing it or we're doing it, there seems to be a lapse either way. So what has been the communication that we've had with the business owners to clean the parking lot? Are they, like, what's the flavor of those relationships? Because it seems like they don't necessarily want to do this on a regular basis.
So I know I've stopped in a few businesses myself to tell them about that, especially at 24 Hour Tobacco, and the excuse was he told his manager, he just not whatever, and I tell him, well, you're getting a ticket, so you cut it, I'll cut it, and the next day I'll be cut. So it's consistent, have to stay on them, right? So what I'm planning on doing is, and I think I talked about this before, was a habitual offender list. So if we had to make you cut more than once, or force clean you property more than once, you're gonna automatically go on a every week or 2 week schedule of the force cut and clean, and just automatically get billed, or completely, keep leaning your property. As far as residential and business, because there's just a number of properties we are continuously going out to clean up on. And if we could do it on a habitual offenders list, and part of that is have a force clean every 2 weeks, we won't get to the point where it's reaching, 7 to 10 inches and looking a mess.
But also, if I may, so I got a text or complaint today from a resident. And it's a problem. For one, it's the position of the dumpster. It's in the middle of that parking lot. So I sat out there last night after I got off work, and just to watch what's going on. And what I've noticed is we get twice a week garbage pickup. So that dumpster, like that, remember that that clothing bin that was across from Aldi?
Donations.
So I got that removed because people were just dumping there. So I called the owner and got that removed. What people are doing is they're driving their garbage in the county and they're just throwing it there because they don't have twice a week garbage pickup. So it's not even the owners or the people that fraternize the businesses or there. It's just people who, it's a prime location, it's an easy target. So there's just people throwing their garbage. So what my suggestion is, and I've spoken basically with David and the chief today, is that we should try to basically have a meeting of the minds, and David said he's going to reach out to the owner to come up with a solution to possibly move the dumpster to a more hidden location, or either, and also maybe put some type of surround about around it to make it look more appealing or something, and also possibly put a fence around in front of the property, the homes on that other side. Now the grass part, earlier in the year, David and I, we talked about doing some type of landscaping on that corner. Permeable landscaping, maybe native plantings or something there, to just take that, all of that out. We could either put some pavers in there and put some pots up there, to just take it out. And that would just remove it, if we could just come to some type of agreement with the owner. Because no one cares about whether or not the owner is responsible or not. It's gonna put it's about putting a spot on the community, because it's our four corners. People that come into our city don't care about whether or not the store owns it. It's gonna put a mark on District Heights. So it's best if we can come into have a compromise with the owner. So let us try to work on that solution first, but, before we go that way, but that's our worst scenario. So we're gonna, David said we're gonna give you up until next Friday to try to get in contact with the owner.
That particular owner, he owns that whole strip from the
Yeah.
barber shop all the way down to where the tattoo parlor is. He owns that whole strip there.
Yeah.
And if you remember, there's a dumpster right across from that one that we had a big problem with.
Yep.
And we kept finding him, and then he ended up purchasing a dumpster that's his locking one. The only people that have the key to it are the people, the store owners, and that one, that he moved that also out that way, and it's a big green one on the corner side, and we haven't had problems with that. So, he's, responsive in a way once we get his attention by hitting him with those fines, which, he just got issued one yesterday for that dumpster. So it is his responsibility to keep it up, and if they need to keep it, switched out to a locking one, I'll also make sure that will be something we'll reach out to him, talk to him more.
But it's
Okay.
primarily if we can even move it, because it's just in a really, if people see the garbage dumpster there, they're gonna dump there. That's what I've been noticing. If they see it, they're gonna dump, so.
Yeah, I would appreciate if we came up with a game plan, because this is something that's continuously come up. And even when we are on the fining, it still doesn't happen fast enough. So I'm definitely in favor with us sitting down with the business owners and seeing what we can do together. So thank you for that. I do have a couple other questions on code. Can you just share when our code enforcement officer is riding around the city and just patrolling? I've just noticed like an increased amount of trash cans that are out when it's not trash day, or just, things in the yard that should not be in the yard that normally we would have our code enforcement officers on. So can you just share a little bit about their patrol schedule?
Yeah, right now it says we're still in the midst of trying to hire actually two of them. Right now, he's required to patrol the streets at least 2 times a day, hit every street in the city. Once in the morning, he comes in, does the paperwork, and then go back out in the evening time. If whatever he doesn't catch, usually I catch before I come in. I do a lap around the city when I first get in and when I go home, and then because we're short there, kind of that's how we're tag teaming the city between that. And then with our assistance from our CAT members, we're also getting those emails and notifications of violations they're seeing.
And I know we're short-staffed, so I just wanted to confirm, are we hiring one code enforcement officer or 2?
We need to.
We're going to be hiring 2. So, and understanding that we're short-staffed, but these things, we still want to
right.
keep some sort of standard
Definitely.
look to the city. I'm wondering if we can pursue maybe putting together a list of common violations, so to speak, so that when that person does go out on the street, they're kind of looking for the things that I know we've identified and CAP has identified as well, and what some residents are also calling in the meantime, because this person's not really going to be able to do a thorough
Right.
twice daily check of the city.
So it's funny that me and Deputy Chief were just talking about that, a kind of cheat sheet of fines and timeframes, because we have 5, 10, 15 in our code, for different things. So we're talking about making a cheat sheet faster for that same exact thing. Yep. So that's something we're currently working at right now, trying to make that a streamlined process.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, and I wanted to also piggyback off of code. I've been riding around and noticing like a lot of furniture out longer than normal, mattresses, big furniture. Also like on Gateway across from the garden, it's a street with just a lot of old cars just sitting there, a lot of abandoned cars sitting in people's backyards on grass and you know, so these things impact people's property values. I wouldn't want to live next door to that. So, I mean, I don't know. I know we're down. I just don't know what the people on the job are doing. I know you had to get them trained up. So, but I'm just piggybacking off of Commissioner Gomez. We got to get a better process. And maybe we can even learn something off of Public Works is to just break things up in zones where they just work different zones weekly and do it that way.
Yeah.
So we know what zone they're working in every week. That may be easier to do it in small bites.
That was something to look at, yeah.
Yeah.
Explore that, yeah. So, the two of the people we're looking at hiring now have a background in what we need, building inspection, stuff like that, so it'll be easier to break up the city into what we need, residential inspection, commercial inspections, and focus on code violations when it comes to code ordinance, so that's another thing we're looking at, yeah.
Those quality of life.
Quality, that's right, so we have somebody, so we just focusing on those, while some people's doing inspections and business inspections, stuff like that, so.
Right. And again, and this is important because these are the pillars of community policing. When you talk about community policing, these things, you have to have a clean community. You have to have certain things put in place for you to have a safe city. And one of those things is these violations have to be taken care of. You can't have these abandoned cars, the garbage cans. All of these things are signals, you know, the grass being kept. These signal to people that this is a city where you can't just come and do anything. It alerts people, criminals, that this isn't a place for you to, you're not going to be welcome here. Right. And so this is important that we have a robust code enforcement, you know, working hand in hand with our police, where our community policing is strong. That's why we're further ahead, because I was a community police trained police officer, so that's why I
Right, that's right.
So, thank you.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
Vice Mayor, I have a question. It's still, just want to add some more to what they've already asked about code enforcement, in that a lot of the violations that we see are, you know, repetitive. We see them all the time, mattresses, as Commissioner Harcourt mentioned, and I'm wondering whether or not we can come up with like a standard like form letter, and it has some of the 4 or 5 violations that we see a lot. You check the box and you say you're in violation of whatever, mattress out. For mattresses, they need to be wrapped in a certain way. Just reminding people when the bulk pickup days in and when they should put these items out. A lot of people know, and then there's some of them that are just, you know, putting things out on the weekends. And so I'm thinking when we, and Public Works, not trying to add more to what they're already doing, but when Public Works is out and they see these kind of violations, if they could let the police department know, and I know they are pretty much working with you all already.
Yeah.
And get that, it makes it kind of easier to identify them, and then maybe have a code enforcement officer take that form letter to that resident's home, and maybe that might give some quicker action in terms of having homeowners come into compliance with some of these violations.
That's a real good idea. Across the
Yeah,
department.
we've got like a little door knocker we've created.
Okay.
That you can kind of, write something on it or check something off. We got that there, so that's one of our things we use. Most times when we knock and talk, we get immediate compliance with something like mattresses or stuff like that. And we've had some, limb pickups a little more difficult to get immediate compliance, so we've noticed. So we've been seeing, we've had to take a little bit further action on those ones, but for the other smaller stuff that they can, we have had some stuff. And I will look, and like I said, I have another drive around the city tomorrow morning, and I'll observe some of those things and get with code and take care of those.
One final question. In terms of residents that are needing a permit for home improvement things that are going on, is that on our website, or do residents have to physically come in to get that form to complete?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for bringing that up. We are about 90% done with our long-awaited SmartGov application, where you can go online, and we're going to have everything online, right? So our deputy chief's working day and night to get that thing put together and bring that up to code, bring that online. You can apply online and pay online, so you can never step foot in here, right?
Wow.
And we'll email you your certificate and everything. So I would say within the next, I'm going to say 45 days.
Oh, perfect.
That thing may be up and going. We're pretty far along. And if you log on now, I think we have at least, how many do you say, about, maybe we'll go back maybe 30%, 45% way done with it. So it's like added on. We had like a few permits you can apply for, but he just, I think, did like 25 more on or something like that. So we're moving along pretty well with that. So I think about 45 more days we should have that. The plan is to have that up and going, and we've been pushing that one pretty hard.
Is there any way to, I know that right now, until that you're up and going with the website, is there any way that we can maybe have some of those forms outside of the offices? Because I've noticed a number of residents often come in, they not knowing what the hours of code enforcement are, and they come in after hours. Is there any way we can put them in, so that's at least one part that they can complete and come back the next day or whenever to just provide the form? Because it does take a little bit of time, a couple of minutes to complete that.
Definitely, we can put that on the table out front of the
All
line.
right.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chief.
Thank you, Chief Tarpley.
Thank you.
Okay, last but not least, we have communications. Ms. Bethia?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, Commissioner Harcourt, Commissioner Jennifer, residents, and my colleagues. I will do my best to not utilize my gift of gab this evening, but leverage my gift of brevity, given the day. Considering that this is my first report, and I ask that you accept this report, my report is a little bit more extensive than the others in that this is my first one being submitted. So my report actually spans from May 30th, 2024 to May 31st, 2024 to August 30th, 2024. So a period of about 3 months, which has been, I think, a fair assessment of how long I've been here. I didn't count my first month so that I could get an idea of how things are run, how things are going. Something that's not in the report, but I wanted to just give you an idea of what has been happening over the past 3 months. With Instagram alone, we have posted about 59 posts, a total of over 35,000 impressions, over 180 comments, a little bit over 26 shares. Average seconds viewed on Reels is 11 seconds, and as far as our clicks, we have a little bit over 1,600 clicks. That is not in the report, but I wanted to give you an idea of just one avenue that we communicate to the residents of District Heights. These seem like big numbers, but we can absolutely do better, because keep in mind that this is over the course of 3 months, right? So just so you can have a little idea of what we're going through. If you turn the page after social media key findings, I wanted to get to the good stuff first, being the graphs, the daily trends for Facebook and Instagram daily trends. If you can see, there's a huge spike around July, middle of July, and then everything else just kind of leveled out compared to what we've been used to. What happened during that time were the posts of that time. We had National Night Out, the survey regarding our branding survey that I made you aware of. The new hires post between myself and Mr. Thomas in the senior center, and then of course Vice Mayor Gomez's announcement that she is now Vice Mayor of the city. So with all of that, considering that we shared this to our friends and our family, and then they shared it, that is a natural spike, right? Because those were more interactive posts. Same thing with Facebook, because typically my standard is to whatever's on Instagram goes on Facebook, because it's all meta at the end of the day. So, considering the spike, it would be nice if we kept up at the spike, or just, at least it wasn't as drastic, right? So how do we do that? Recommendations and improvement tactics moving forward is to boost content that drives reaction and shares. All of this is about creating content that we can interact with. So a lot of the content that I have been sharing is not necessarily interactive. It's an announcement, it's an event, and typically the links go elsewhere, and we don't get to read them because they're not our links. For community partner events, sometimes we'll have a link with that. We don't necessarily get that data, right? So we need to create content that has reaction and share value. We need to experiment with different content formats. Instagram and Facebook isn't the only one out there. We do have a TikTok account. We do have a LinkedIn account. We now have an official Nextdoor account. And I will explain to you at a later date how that works. It is not a personal account, it is a business Nextdoor account, so we can only post our events on that page. So there's no interaction with the residents, which frankly is a good thing, so that we can be as objective and neutral as possible, right? Need to enhance a call to action strategy. That ties back in with making content that is interactive. And the same thing for Instagram, increasing community engagement, optimizing posting times. This data that I pulled is really helpful in determining what time of day is best for us to get peak engagement. We have learned that basically between Tuesdays and Thursdays, middle of the day is relatively okay, because who else is posting around that time? The county is posting around that time, other jurisdictions are posting around that time, and it's like your lunch break. People are bored and you want to get on your phone during your lunch break. So we're going to play around with those times and see what happens, okay? Overall strategy, cross-promoting content between Facebook and Instagram, and again, the other avenues that we now have at our disposal to share. Regularly review and adapt. That's what all this is about. It's almost like a science experiment on a regular basis, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, what the residents like, what they would like even more, right? Moving on to email campaigns, key findings. This one I am particularly wanting you to pay attention to, because I have received a lot of, I don't want to say complaints, but concerns about lack of communication, right? And I'm not getting the email, I'm not, receiving, I didn't know, etc. And sometimes those assessments are fair. Sometimes the email comes out late due to whatever, things happen. But as a rule, over the past 3 months, we have sent it over a total of over 23,000 emails. And our average open rate is 40%. So 40% of 23,000 emails have been opened, have been reviewed. We can get a little higher as far as open rate, but again, that ties into making content that is more engaging. What I've noticed is that the requests that I received to post something via email and our other avenues, it is inherently not interactive. It's just a notice. So how do we make that notice more interactive? How do we convert it to a PDF in Constant Contact and have links in there so that we can drive up the click rates and have people stay in the email long enough to get the data? Right? When you have more engaging content, when you have more engaging emails, these numbers go up, and it is more likely that the open rate will go up. So again, it's an experiment, we'll have to see. Our top 5 campaigns, and this all ties into what I just said regarding our overall statistics. The top 5 campaigns was the trash collection delay, the press release regarding a joint statement that we had for the District Heights Coalition, I believe, Vice Mayor Gomez's press release, the survey regarding our branding, and the Neighborhood Fox's tips and tricks and stuff. And again, I tried my best to create I wish I had also included what these things look like, so you can understand how if something is more engaging to look at, engaging to click on, even if it's not clickable, something to look at, the open rate is higher, right? Top 5 campaigns by click rate, District Heights Survey, Business View article, the referral form for Roberta's House, District Heights Day, and the mayoral scholarship. Why were those the highest ones? Because they had something to click. There was something that they needed to engage in order to have that email opened, right? And then bounce rate is, for those who don't know, the emails that returned to me because the email addresses weren't working. So the bounce rate, the highest ones were Gomez, the new hires, the joint statement, National Night Out, and the noise notice, mainly because that was around the time that I increased the number of contacts in our distribution list so that I could try and include as many people as possible. But with that, sometimes people send me email addresses that are spelled wrong or something like that, and that contributes to the bounce rate. So just a word of thumb, when you submit something, please make sure that, you know, double and triple check the spelling so you can get this information because it is important. And I won't have to go through these other graphs. They're pretty self-explanatory. The distribution of mobile versus desktop opens, I find that interesting. Over 90% of our opens are on desktop. That says that people are on their computers more than their phones when they are looking at these emails. I find that interesting. Total sends, opens, and clicks over time. That's pretty explanatory. And the only reason you have that dip there is because I did not include that information in the data pool. Same thing with open rates and click rates by the top 10 campaigns. So improvement tactics moving forward, again, optimizing for mobile devices. I have found that sometimes it looks better on your laptop as opposed to the phone, so we need to test how these graphics translate onto your phone and your tablet so that you can actually do this on the go and you don't feel like you have to sit down and be sedentary when you read our stuff, right? Improve subject lines. This is a big thing that I really want to improve upon, but this goes back to what I received as far as the email distribution list. I got a lot of emails, not a lot of names. So it's hard for me to personalize something in Constant Contact when I don't have the name associated with the email, right? So I'm thinking possibly redoing a sign up for email campaign and have people actually put their name down, like it's required to put your name down with your email address so you can get personalized emails and you actually feel like you're a part of the city when you get emails from us, right? And then again, this goes back to our social media critique, enhancing content quality. Moving on, as we all know, we are in the middle of rebranding the city. It is my baby. I am very excited. And as you are aware, there was a brand research summary that was given by Pixanow to the commission and city manager. And this is just an abbreviated version of that slide deck for the city to understand. I won't go through all of it, but basically they did an incredible job pulling data for us, such as our core demographics statistics. You'd be surprised to know that our median household income went up by 22% to $84,000. Our population is down slightly, but that's okay. Our average age in the city is 37, and over 70% of our residents own their homes. I think that is absolutely incredible, especially for a city of this size. So kudos to the commissioners for getting that done. The survey overview. You may have seen a tall Nigerian guy at our events who was just kind of going in your face like, hey, quick, 5 things about the city, go. That was the survey, right? And the point of him not saying exactly what it was for is to get your absolute honest opinion regarding it, right? So overall, he got 65 respondents. Out of those respondents, we had 10 key stakeholders, and as far as the sentiment survey, we had 15 participants. Where are we? If you scroll down to how the people of District Heights describe their city, it is a city of family and community, safety and crime concerns, growth and diversity, events, and culture. And the top sentiments were family, home, and care. Those are really big sentiments for a city of this size. And again, I commend the commissioners for having a culture of District Heights that actually puts these 3 sentiments at the forefront, because that's how people feel about this city. Moving on to color preference, I thought this was very interesting. Obviously, our residents believe that, when you think District Heights, you think blue and yellow, but they also think about green and gold. Probably the gold because it's associated with the yellow is more of a gold color. But the fact that they thought about green is a testament to DPW and our Sustainability Committee and everything that we have worked on regarding keeping this as green as possible. Like, I drive around here at my leisure, and every lawn is immaculate. Every walking space is just green, and that's a beautiful thing to have for a city. So it makes sense that most of the surveyors thought of green. As far as community values, again, family and togetherness, safety, diversity, inclusivity, respect and being caring, tradition and heritage. We aspire as a city to be sustainable. They want an enhanced public image. They want improved safety. They want to grow and develop. And it is clear that this commission is focused on all of those things already. And this aspiration will be answered soon enough through the works that you guys do. So don't worry about it, but it is very interesting that this is what people said. Better communication and engagement. That's in my wheelhouse now, and I'm doing my best to try and raise the profile of the city so that they can see what we're doing and they feel safe enough to interact with what we're doing. Not just going to events, but again, being on social media, doing the emails, emailing publicaffairs@districtheights.org. Once again, publicaffairs@districtheights.org. You submit things to me regarding communications, and I will do my best to answer you in a timely fashion. Brand essence. We talk about the vision, we talk about the mission, all of those things are on the website. As far as personality, I thought this was interesting. As a whole, the city believes that we are a close-knit community, a place with strong sense of belonging, family-oriented, home to residents, home to all. And I think that's huge because, again, we are a relatively small city, but we feel big because of where we are. And the fact that people still feel like this is a very homey, close-knit community, again, testament to the residents here, testament to the commissioners here, and testament to my colleagues here for making that happen. And then simply put, the synopsis was that District Heights is a warm, close-knit community with deep African-American roots and a hopeful spirit. The new identity, meaning with this new branding scheme, we hope to create a cohesive, positive, and forward-looking image for the city, reflecting true spirit of District Heights and also inspiring pride and unity. Again, this is the abbreviated slide deck for purposes of public consumption. You already have the full one. We've already talked about this. I just wanted to have this on record. Moving on, lastly, we have Power in the Park and our city town hall. And this is, I think, is kind of David's baby, this whole merging of the concept of Power in the Park, which we did last year, but also a town hall, which the residents have been very much wanting to have. Considering that the resources at Power in the Park are the same ones for the town hall, it just made sense to merge the event as one and just have kind of a bizarre town hall type of thing for the residents regarding bringing your utility bills, signing up for money-saving programs, all the things that you can learn from our vendors, and of course you have the agenda in front of you. We are also looking for volunteers for this event, so please email publicworks@districtheights.org if you are interested in becoming a volunteer. Other highlights, Ms. Emerson already mentioned that on September 10th, we have a WUSA 9 segment to promote the 5K. That'll be with Ms. Emerson and the mayor herself. I'm working on those talking points between tomorrow and Monday, so they can have those. CBC week is also next week, and our mayor will be in attendance. I have been invited to be a media correspondent privately with a media company known as Black with No Chaser. They have a following of about 250,000 followers just on Instagram alone, and they focus on amazing things that Black people are doing in their communities, be it political, artistic, what have you. They even have like literally a siloed Game of Thrones group. Like they cover the gambit of everything that Black people are and can be. So I think it would be a really good idea for the mayor to get on that show while she's at CBC, considering that it's an election year. It would be a good highlight profile for her. I will not be conducting the interview out of ethical concerns, but I will be there to supervise. And then finally, with the commanders once everything is done with that, I will start partnering with them to promote. And now I will take questions.
Thank you for that robust presentation. Does anyone have any questions? Commissioner Jennifer?
Just one, do we have a date for the town hall that you can report on?
I believe the flyer says October 5th. Yes, October 5th, 10 to 2, here.
The entirety of the event runs 10 to 2. The town hall itself, I believe, starts at noon.
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct.
It will be in a separate area, and so residents who attend will have access to utilities and other service providers in a exhibition hall style format, and will retreat into a separate area for a town hall with a published agenda and a Q&A period for residents.
I also wanted to know very quickly that as far as centralizing communications, I have, for the most part, achieved that. We have a folder in OneDrive that is all of our communications, from branding, contact lists, community engagement, our policies, key messaging and talking points for the mayor and you all, should you guys need them, photos, RFQs, speeches and remarks, everything, graphics, everything. So if you ever need anything, like say a logo or anything like that, please let me know, and I can now readily see where it is and hand it over to you. Also, we rolled out an interim communications policy. I know that was a big deal upon my arrival here, and with the branding coming to a close, because that's another really big thing, all the branding, including artwork, everything that you've been seeing so far should be done by the end of the month. David and I have a meeting with the vendor tomorrow, and once we are done with that meeting, we will relay the same information to you. Basically, the same thing as what we did last time, of us having the meeting and then relaying the same information to you in the evenings when everybody's able to be congregated.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
And we are also planning a full presentation to the commission, I believe, at the September 24th
Yes.
work session to really sort of do a full-on public presentation of the work to date.
Yes, yes. The presentation looks great, so we want everyone to see
Yes.
it as well.
Absolutely.
Vice Mayor, do you have any questions?
Sorry.
Sorry.
If I may, Vice Mayor.
Yes.
The flyer, for those, I think you see them on the table, but this is, if it isn't already, will be, regarding the town hall, will be going on our website.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We just needed something out there tonight so that people are aware, but it will
Okay.
go on socials. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can we actually put the time that the town hall will start
Yes.
on the flyer?
There's,
That'd be helpful.
Madam Vice
Yes.
There's 2 iterations of the flyer that are going out. We erred on the side of getting it out as early as we can, and so we expect the agenda one to get updated as like utility partners in Pepco and others, confirm attendance. We can certainly put the times and the locations. We're on the back end working on a full run of show and invitations for that event. So you can expect that flyer to change a handful of times. The other thing that I'd like to draw attention to is that the Sustainability Committee is seeking volunteers to assist with that program. That information is also on a separate volunteer solicitation flyer. District Heights has a great spirit of volunteerism, and the Sustainability Committee is looking to leverage that for the upcoming event.
Maybe you can use your your sorority.
Yeah, maybe. I actually can. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Okay. So that concludes our department reports. It looks like we have one remaining action item. Item 10, resolution amending Article 7 of the city charter for collective bargaining. Mr. Farrar. Good evening.
Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. It's good to be in the city of District Heights once again. We heard the commission's request with regard to adding a provision in the charter to allow for collective bargaining. What we did is we've introduced this charter resolution 24-01.
You might want to put your mic down.
Oh, I apologize. We've added this, presented this charter resolution 24-01, which adds a section to the city's charter, section 714, to allow collective bargaining. That was presented in senior packet. And what this will allow is, it will allow for representation of city employees by a union, per your request.
Okay. Okay. Are there any questions from the commission on this charter amendment?
I do have a question. Number one, thank you so much for putting this together. Did you, I know this was an ask and a task for the charter committee. Did they, or you work with them in putting this together? How did that?
No, this was not done with the charter committee.
Oh.
This was done, as you recall, several meetings ago, prior to the break, the commission said, hey, we need to get this done, we need to get this done expeditiously. And so in an effort to meet your requirements and the timelines that you gave to do that, we did not work with the charter committee to get this language together.
Okay.
But as you can see, I think it's fairly straightforward. Again, it just adds this section to the charter that is obviously had not been in contemplated when the charter was passed initially. So I think this gets done what it is that you've asked us to do. It does allow for collective bargaining. It recognizes collective bargaining. It authorizes it and respects the provisions of a collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah, I know that our employees have been wanting action for a while on this, and we have, the commission in as a whole has supported unionizing if that is what they wanted. So this was really important that we got this done, and I appreciate the work that you put into this.
Thank you.
Commissioner Harcourt?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that I am very much in favor of our staff being able to unionize. I can't believe they haven't done it sooner, but I'm glad that we're the commission to be able to make this happen. I know that there are maybe some people on the charter committee who may not understand why we did this. This should have been happened. And so what we wanted to do is just get this done so that they can go forward with the work of trying to do this. If this is what they want to do, we shouldn't get in the way of them being able to do this. This should be their right. Based on my political beliefs, I think that everybody should have the right to organize. That's the way I feel. And so I'm not going to get in the way of that. And so I'm glad that we're able to be the people to make this happen. So thank you, Bradley.
Yes, I'm echoing Commissioner Harcourt and Commissioner Jennifer's sentiments that, you know, we really wanted to move forward with this. We know this has been a long-standing agenda item for the past year or so, since this has been brought to our attention. And we also know that we have a lot of competing priorities, but we know we want to prioritize our staff, because without them, we would not be able to implement anything that we have visioned for the city. And if this is something that they're asking for, I think we all wanted to prioritize getting it done as soon as possible. Given that these are changes to the charter language that are specifically on personnel, which traditionally are, closed session matters, I think we felt it appropriate to just move forward with having you work on those language changes so that we can give our staff what they've been asking for, essentially. So thank you for your work on this. I'm looking forward to us voting this in. And if we don't have any other questions, I will ask that we have a motion. Are we ready to vote?
I'm ready.
Okay. Commissioner?
I'll take it.
All right.
Thank
Did you
you.
want to read it into the record?
Oh, yes. Okay. So Charter Resolution number 24-01. A charter resolution of the City Commission of District Heights amending Article 7 Personnel. Whereas the City of District Heights, Maryland, whereinafter referred to as City, recognizes the rights of its employees to organize for the purpose of collective bargaining. And whereas it is the intent of the City Commission to promote harmonious and cooperative relationships between the city and its employees by permitting them to organize and bargain collectively. And whereas the city is committed to fostering a positive and productive working relationship with its employees, including the negotiation of fair and reasonable terms and conditions of employment through collective bargaining. And whereas the city acknowledges the collective bargaining can contribute to efficient and effective public service by providing a forum for the discussion and resolution of workplace issues. And whereas collective bargaining is in the public interest and promotes the welfare of the City of District Heights, its employees, and its citizens. And whereas collective bargaining is recognized as a fundamental right for employees to negotiate collectively with their employer over wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the City of District Heights Charter, Section 714, is hereby added as follows. Charter Amendment, Section 714, Collective Bargaining. The city is authorized and empowered to recognize any duly elected or recognized representative of the city's employees and to enter into collective bargaining negotiation with such representatives. Employee unions or associations that represent the majority of the employees in a bargaining unit shall be recognized officially as the exclusive bargaining agents for all employees in that unit for the purpose of negotiating wages, hours, and other terms and conditions of employment. And be it further resolved that the date of adoption of this charter resolution is the 5th day of September 2024, and that the amendment to the charter of the city as herein adopted shall be and become effective on the,
It would be the 60th day from today.
will become effective on the 60th day after September 5th, 2024. A petition for referendum on this charter resolution is filed in writing with the mayor or city manager pursuant to the provision of Title IV, Subtitle III of the Local Government Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be in effect on
The 60th.
the 60th day after September 5th, 2024. Approved this 5th day of September 2024. Okay,
Can I take the motion?
yes.
I, Commissioner Harcourt, move that the City Commission introduce Charter Resolution 24-01 and direct staff to schedule and advertise a public hearing on the proposed amendment.
Can I get a second?
I, Commissioner Janifer, second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-1, the motion passes. Yay. Yay. Okay, that's great. I'm glad that we were able to
Yes.
move that forward.
Middle District Heights history.
Yes, indeed. All right. Okay, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Farrar.
Thank you, Bradley.
Okay, so now I will move forward with mayor and commission announcements or comments. Commissioner Jennifer?
I actually have a question for Mr. Farrar, a request for Mr. Farrar and the mayor. No, you don't have to come up. I would like to ask if you all, because there's quite a bit of confusion about policies and procedures with regards to committees and other things that are going on. If you all could put together some kind of policy document for us, I'd appreciate that very much. And then with that, did you?
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
If I'm understanding the request from the dais, you want the city attorney and I to put together a document for the commission that explains the sort of, legal or regulatory framework that both you and your advisory bodies are subject to pursuant to the charter, local law, and state law.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I have one more. We announced new hires for the police department. I also would like to announce that if you have not met our new hire in the general government, Josh Fitzgerald has joined the front office staff. Please, if you're visiting the building, please stop in and say hello to Josh. And that's all I have.
Commissioner Harcourt, any announcements?
No announcements. I would just like to say, I'd like to thank all the residents for really pitching in and helping Public Works and just really helping in and maintaining our city. I do notice that on garbage day, we're not getting as many complaints and that people are really pitching in and cleaning up behind Bates. I've been running out and noticing that people have been helping to hydrate the people that have been collecting the trash, helping out. It's been hot. And people have been more empathetic to people doing this really, really hard work. And I appreciate that we're taking a more humane and empathetic view about the people doing those thankless and hard work. Instead of always complaining, we're looking at people as human beings and not machines. Also, I'd like to thank the people that are walking their dogs and picking up after them. It keeps all of our community healthier. It also keeps our other people's pets, healthier as well. There are illnesses about, waste being down. You want to protect not only your dog, but your neighbor's dogs. So thank you about that and just making sure that we're keeping our city beautiful and welcoming for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we've touched on Power in the Park, but I just want to emphasize we're having our second annual Power in the Park event, October 5th. This is a great event to come out to talk to Pepco and some other energy service providers on how you can lower your bill and look into some other energy options. I know last year we had a couple EV vehicles out there. We had a moon bounce. We served free lunch. So it's a great event for the entire family. If you're an adult, parent, you can come out, get some services on your utility bills, and the kids will have a place to play and run around and things to do. And we also will be having our city town hall that day, so it's just a great opportunity to get those resources and then head over and join the town hall and hear a little bit about some higher level initiatives that we're working on, some departmental report outs, and just voice your feedback. So we hope to see you October 5th for that event. It's going to be great. It's going to be better than last year.
Can I just mention one more thing before we go? And just before we close, I'd like to just end on one other note. Just keep the mayor in your prayers. The mayor, she lost her sister to cancer, which is a horrible disease. And, you know, people don't realize that we all deal with our own personal things up here. We work our own personal jobs. We have, I know Commissioner Gomez and I, we're still in the work world. We have very stressful careers. Commissioner Jennifer, she's a full-time grandma and business owner and volunteer and all kind of stuff.
And caregiver.
That's
Doing
right. And we deal with our own personal issues outside of doing this, and we're really, really committed to giving the city 100%. This doesn't stop when we get off work. Sometimes I come home, I don't stop when I get off of work. Mayor Miller doesn't stop either. She's up here all the time, and one thing I'd like everybody to do is keep her in your prayers. She's a human being, and she's stoic, and she doesn't show a lot of the things that she deals with. And so her and her sister were close. Her sister's younger than her, and it's got to be hard to lose a sibling. I'm sorry, because I'm thinking about, I've lost younger siblings, and it's hard to bury a sibling that's younger than you. And so keep her in your prayers. And, you know, the mayor, she's done a lot for the city in a little bit of time. And a lot of people will never know how bad a shape, and I don't care. And this is not a knock to other people that sat up here before, but a lot of people will never know how bad a shape the city was in when she took the reins, and how she's turned it around. So keep her in your prayers and her family in your prayers. And I'm sure she wished she could be here, but she has to do her thing, and she's grieving, and she's going to come back, and you'll never know her struggles, but she'll give you 100% for this city. So thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Even though she's not with us in physically, she's still updated and aware. We've been briefing her. She's still involved in city business. We even were able to meet to go over the agenda for the next month. So she's still committed, even in her time of grief and crisis in her family. And so we just really want to keep Mayor Miller lifted in this time, and also let her know that we got it. That's why we're a team, right? And that's something that we've always said. Commissioner Tillman is also not present. We got it. We're also a team. And so just please keep her lifted. I believe her sister's service is tomorrow. Her homegoing service is tomorrow. And so keep her and her family lifted in prayer. So with that, we do have one more agenda item on tonight's agenda. It is a closed session topic on real property acquisition. So I'm going to ask at this time for a motion for us to move into closed session. Do I have a motion?
I, Commissioner Jennifer, move that we go into closed session.
Commissioner Harcourt, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Time.
3-0.
21:52.
Yep.
Okay, I think I'm gonna need to put my jacket back on.
good.
So we're back from closed session where we discussed property acquisition. And I'm going to now ask for a motion to close our city meeting today. Can I get a motion?
I, Commissioner Janifer, move that we adjourn our meeting of September the 5th of 2024.
Can I get a second?
Commissioner Harcourt, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Good evening, everyone.
Outstanding.
All right.
Thank you, Bradley.
Yeah, thank